And we are live, and I want to welcome everyone to Unrestricted Paranormal. Tonight, you're watching us on video right here on the YouTube channel, Unrestricted Paranormal, spelled normal. We just had this conversation off air. But as you look down below, you'll see that the banner is scrolling, and you'll see that you can go to my network, and you will be able to also catch this here. Now, what we're doing is this weekend, I am making an effort that we are converting over to most of our podcast programming to video, so that when we do live programs or we do anything, of that nature, even if it's pre-recorded, you'll be able to now look at the video and watch the video along with everybody else. I will still try to offer the audio adventures because we have a player on the front page. If you scroll down, you'll see that you can see or listen to Unrestricted Radio. You can listen to Haunted Mitten podcast. Great girls that put on, great podcasts here in the state of Michigan. It's all about true crimes, weird things. We also have Strange, Sinister, and Suspicious. They do very similar podcasting, which is about true crime and just horrible things, just weird oddities. We carry, histories with mysteries, living history with mystery. We also carry the Midwest Parahistorical Society on their page. Also, our guest joining us tonight. And I want to welcome, first of all, my co-host, who I finagled into doing this with me. First time co-hosting with Drew. Drew, how you doing?
Last minute finagled. I was dressed for bed when he asked me if I...
Well,
I am doing just great, bud.
Yeah. I messaged him earlier. I said, are we doing tonight? Is it 7? Is it 8? I wasn't sure.
Well, joining us is TARYN KERPER, TARYN KERPER of Paranormal Brew, and she does several other things, and I'm going to let her talk about that in a minute. But yeah, I was in a panic mode because last few nights that I've done podcasts, and I put up the audio, I worked yesterday and today. Drew knows how this goes. When you're doing your own thing, you got to do all the work. So my internet and things at my house have just been weird. First, the heat went down this week. So now we're waiting on a new furnace tomorrow. I mean, we've got a little bit of heat, but that's happening. Tire decided to come off my car last weekend as I'm driving in South Haven. So 59-year-old me is out there in 7-degree weather changing a tire. So that was fun. But the internet thing has just been this oddity. And, I understood the nights that we had the blizzard, because maybe whatever their repeat station is or however they're doing it here in West Michigan, I could understand. But today it was up and down and up and down. And so thank you for being patient. We've got TARYN with us, and on Paranormal Brew, she has quite a plethora list of guests that she interviews quite often. She's had many people that are similar that I've had on the program here, but you have not seen her or talked to her yet. And that's why I wanted to have her on this program. But again, TARYN, welcome. Thank you for being patient.
Oh my goodness. Listen, you know me, my shows never go off without a technical difficulty or some sort of thing. You know what I mean? That happens. So it's cool. It's awesome.
Yeah. I had a good run there for a while. Yeah, I will tell you, I had a good run and it was smooth. I'm even hardwired,
Awesome.
I was having better reception at the hotel during a blizzard when I did podcasts last week than I am at home. So I can't figure it out. I don't think, and before everybody starts shouting the D word, okay, there's no demons in my house and there's nothing bad. I didn't do anything strange or unusual yet.
Well, I mean, you haven't had me on yet, so
this could trigger it. So
it's really funny too, because you mentioned the problems with the internet and stuff. Last year, when I had my old channel, Living History Comes Alive, I was doing my interviews and stuff on Friday nights, and I actually had Peter Sireko, who was in the movie Tombstone.
Oh, cool.
As a guest. And if you'll remember that one scene when Doc and everybody's meeting Sheriff Behan, and those two guys come out of the bar and they shoot those other two guys. This guy here played Texas Jack Vermillion. And I had him on. He was out on his ranch. They were filming a movie out on his ranch in Southern California. And we must have had to restart that stream 12 times. He'd fire up his truck, move 10 feet, lose his signal. We'd get it fired back up. And I had another friend of ours that's a member of my channel that's on the other phone with him going, no, hit this button, hit this button. So, I mean, every little couple feet, I was losing this guy. And it's like, oh, God, my first movie star, my first big. I mean, he's been acting for like 30 years. He does a lot of the behind the scenes stuff with props and everything. And it's like, oh, my God, I got 150 questions for this guy. And I can't keep him on here any more than like 11 seconds without losing him.
Right.
Well, I fired up my truck once, but I just had to be happy with the insurance claim. What?
What?
Anybody? Yeah, I just threw that in there.
Anyone from State Farm listening? He wasn't talking about that truck.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about that.
I love Tombstone. I love that movie.
It's a good movie.
Such a good movie.
Good movie. I like, Costner's rendition. I know we'll get into Paranormal, everybody remain calm. Paranormal will happen here in a moment. I liked Costner's version of that, as well. As I said, I am a big historian on the Earps. Drew has not been to my house yet, so when he comes down in my basement and sees my studio, which I'm a little bit in the dark tonight because my overhead light's too bright, there's a picture outside my door here, Drew, which was drawn by my artist friend. I went to art school with him. It's a kind of a rendition of me and him. It is Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday as they look, taken from photographs, and he drew this up for my 31st birthday because he always kindred us as to being those two individuals in our prime, I will say. That's in my prime.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Correct.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah, and I got, but I mean, I'm an aficionado of that too, and I like both of those, renditions of his life and whatnot. Very interesting man up until the time he died, and we'll just leave it at that. But very cool movie. I've been pretty lucky when we talk about guests, and I'm going to run this first question past TARYN. I've been pretty lucky. I started doing this podcasting thing in 2008 with Blog Talk. If anybody remembers what Blog Talk is, it's still going. People still do things. So that was the grandfather, I think, of the free podcasting network, as it were. And when they started charging, that's when I kind of stepped out. And then we went to this. We went to a thing called TV internet. And at least that's what they were calling it. And we had somebody ask us to come over, which was Paranormal TV Network. People's TV Network is what it was. And, it was a cool thing. We used to go on after Shannon Sylvia and her husband. They had a program. We had a program. And we were doing this, just like you see us sitting here. We're talking to one another. We had guests. Where I'm going with this is that I was lucky in that the very early parts of that the person who ran this network, Laura Kimberly, God, I mean, she's still out there, love her to death. She was able to get a lot of those people on the hook. We weren't paying talent fees. We weren't going through agents. And it was just a wondrous thing. The only person which I saw you had on your show, and I'm jealous, TARYN.
Oh my God.
was Jason, because because I'd been talking to him on and off for years, on and off. I haven't recently. I can admit that. Transparency, I've not talked to him in a couple of years, but he was very instrumental when I got my group started right around 2008, when they were hitting high on Lionsgate and Sci-Fi. But I'm glad you scored that. And like I said, I've been pretty lucky to have, it looks like we've been bouncing some of our guests back and forth, which is cool. And it's really nice to see because, we'll talk about this later in the show and we won't bring out names, but we'll talk about this incident that, there are people who are real at what they do and they stick to their story and they stick to their guns type of thing. But I want to back up. I want to back up for our listeners and all the people watching. When did you get involved in paranormal and how did that happen?
So it's funny because I normally don't do I was not doing interviews up until recently, right? So I started getting asked, I started doing more interviews and getting asked that question. And I think when I first started doing interviews, I was just kind of guesstimating and throwing stuff out there. So actually, I know I have some coming up. So I went back and I was like talking with my mom and when did Ghost Hunters start? When did Kimmy do this? I'm trying to like pinpoint when it happened. I want to say that my dad passed in 2000. And then it took me some time, because I went to that was tough for me. So tough. It was like 12 years of counseling, and I have PTSD from it. So it was something that was really tough. But
Yeah.
in those 12 years, also I was looking for something. I didn't know what it was. And I think originally, like before that, up until like when my dad died, I was scared to death of anything ghost haunted. I'd watch it,
Really?
but oh yeah, I was scared to death. I wanted nothing to do with it. I was like, no, get out of my life. Nope, 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 nope. And I mean, I would sleep with a light on. I would sleep with music on. I would have my back, to my room. So I knowing what I know now, what I learned, I think back then I probably had some sort of a sensitive, I could feel it. I could, something made me do those things, or maybe I was just scared. Who knows? But I think I joined a group now I was doing it enthusiastically for like a year or two, and really didn't take it too serious.
Right.
And then I want to say it was like what Ghost Hunter started 2004, kind of, and then so I think it was like around 2009 was when I got it. So for like 14 years, 2009, and then that I really started doing it because phenomenology in Gettysburg happened. I went by myself, totally went by myself. I didn't know anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a part of a group. I just went and was there for 3 days. And I don't know if anybody else has been to phenomenology, but it's a huge party. And there was a guy there that had a team, and he's like, "Come on, you gonna join my team? Join my team. I live in New Jersey, Mount Holly, And it was like, yeah. I debated it because I heard that he ran a tight ship. It was like a 3-month intensive training process. It was field training, and then it was a written test at the end. You had to do. I mean, it was just like 3 months of like serious, like you were just dedicated. It was almost like a mini boot camp, if you will.
Yeah, I like the sound of this guy already. Yeah.
Some of the techniques he used, even with we did preternatural training, we did cemetery cleanup training, we did all kinds of stuff. I am very thankful for the training that I had.
So he was also, I mean, his group was also practicing what I would say the metaphysical edge.
No, he was more like ghost hunters.
What about, okay. All right.
It was more,
when you said cemetery cleaning, I was envisioning something different, but
no, because we would go and we'd clean up cemeteries, and then
physically clean them up.
Yes,
my brain was in paranormal mode, like you're cleaning up the bad spirits and moving people on. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's cool too. No, go ahead. Cool.
No, yeah, cemetery cleanups. We would do that. In turn, there was one cemetery eventually that just gave us the key. Because after I'm going to say this wrong, but the date I believe is once the oldest grave in the cemetery is 75 years old, they stop taking care of the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of cemeteries that around that are just falling apart. Anyway, that was part of our thing, and in turn, we would be able to do investigations there if it was a known active cemetery. We also did lectures like out the wazoo. We would go to libraries, and we would be doing lectures, and we would have events at a lot of historical sites. It was a big group. They were around since 1950. And it was a good, successful group, and I'm thankful that I was trained under this person. However, me and this person no longer speak. We haven't spoken in like 7 years. He kind of changed and was totally different. I wound up ending up to be the co-director of the group. And I was the co-director for like a year, I think, or maybe a 2. I could have that wrong. And then just decided to go our separate ways. And I tried with another group.
It happens.
Yeah. I tried with another group, and it was the same drama, politics, just stuff that I just don't need in my life.
And you and I have talked before, and that's the biggest, that is the biggest killer of a lot of groups, honestly, is people getting egos, people thinking that, well, I know better than you. I don't want to go under your orders anymore. I'm going to run my own thing.
Yeah.
There's just a whole bunch of reasons why people come and go.
Yeah.
Sometimes life happens and they got to focus on other things, and that's understandable too. But I've been through what you've been through, and I'm the leader of the group.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people that I considered very close friends that I won't even speak to them now. They won't speak to me.
Yeah.
And that's sad. They made that decision, but it happens.
Yeah. So when I was with that group, I'm very thankful. I will say everything else on the face of this earth bad about that man, except for how he was when I first started and got my training. I'm very thankful for his guidance with all of this, because how I am now, I really believe in my heart is how I feel is the right way to approach anything that we do. So anyways,
that's true.
So, not only that, but I was actually, even then he had a internet radio show. It was called Paranormal Straight Talk. And I was the producer for that show.
Okay. I think I know who you're talking about. Yep. Yeah. Go ahead.
So I was the producer for his show, Paranormal Straight Talk, which was fun because I got Ben Hansen on, and, I had gotten Gary Golka on to come on, which was probably my most favorite interview I think I've ever heard on anything. It was amazing. So I got some people on there, and then we also did at one point Sci-Fi came in, wanted to do a show about the ghost hunter store, that he owned, and I was one of 10 people that they wanted to audition for the show and everything like that. And they came out a couple of times. So I experienced that. The experiences were all cool, even though they didn't go anywhere, to be able to still experience stuff like that is cool. My first time to Gettysburg in 2007, I had an experience, and it was then that I was like, okay, this isn't that bad. And then I decided to maybe pursue it further, and then decided to do the group and so forth.
What happened to you there?
Gettysburg.
Yeah. Let's hear it. We got to hear it.
Yeah. It's not that big of a deal, but it was. It's the first time that I know that I ever, at that moment in time, ever came in contact with anything. My mom, I didn't even want to go to Gettysburg. It was my first time. I was like, oh my God, fine, I'll go. Because she couldn't find anybody else to go with her. And we were in the park, and at that time you could be in the park until 10 o'clock at night. And she wanted to ghost hunt. I did not. I said, no. I said, you want to do that stuff? You do that, you do that on your own. Right. So we're sitting there. She's like, well, I want to get out. And then we're at the wheat field. And if anybody's familiar, I'll just say where we were. We were at the wheat field. And she's like, just get out and walk around with me, and we'll see if anybody's here. I said, you are crazy. Oh, I'll wait for you in the car. Go ahead. Have fun. And all of a sudden I thought she had farted, because it was eggy, like this disgusting smell. And I said to her, did you fart? And she's like, well, I was going to ask you the same thing. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, it's horrible. And on her window, the passenger side window, it was like something hard went boom, boom, boom. The window shook, and I took the hell off. Like pedal to the damn floor, took off. I was like, that was crazy. And then that same time, as we were coming to go home, as we were coming back to our place, because that freaked me out at first. Then I was like, okay, that wasn't so bad. We were we were staying at Doubleday Inn. Doubleday Inn is the only inn inside the park that you can stay at. It's gorgeous. Bob Hope stayed there. I got a whole bunch of history for people that want to go to Gettysburg. Anyway, you walk right out onto the field. You know what I mean? Like you're actually in the park. And then, but anyways, as we're rounding Doubleday Drive or Road, my mom, she literally, like the statement, you look like you just saw a ghost. I saw that. Like, and this is a woman that wanted to experience something, and for her, she looked over to the side. Well, as we were okay, hold on, I'm sorry. As we were pulling down the street, my mom says, look at all those rangers in the field. Why are the rangers in the field? Is something going on? And I'm like, I don't know. Now this is like midnight. Nobody's allowed in the park past 10 o'clock. We were, because we were going to work. But she's like, all those rangers are in, and I'm like, they better not pull me over. I'm tired. I don't feel like dealing with shit. You know what I mean? And as like maybe 5 seconds later, she jumped so high up in the seat, she like hit her head on the seat, and she's like, oh my God, she's white. I was like, what? She's like, did you just see them? And I'm like, what? She's like, there were 4 Confederate soldiers just almost walked into your car. And she was like panicking. I looked in my rearview mirror. I didn't see anything. I drove up a little bit. I pulled back around. I didn't see anything. But I believe that she did because of her reaction. You know, like,
sure,
I mean, she said, wow, I thought I wanted to experience something. She's like, I never thought that it would ever make me feel that way. Like,
I've talked to a couple of people who've had the similar experiences there, you know, seeing people out there thinking, hey, reenactors are out there or something's going on. And then, you know, you come across the ranger and you look back, no one's out there, and he's reporting to people that, no, we don't have any reenactors on the grounds today. There's nobody out there. And the wheat field where you're talking is where I had my same, you and I are kindred. I had an experience there. My brother and I stayed at the hotel directly across from that visitor center they're pulling down, which is part of the cemetery at the, you know, the high water mark there. You know what I'm talking about? There's a little motel that used to sit right there. I think they're taking it all out.
Well, you're talking about Lee's headquarters?
It was a visitor center, which they're removing because it's part of the cemetery, and battle had taken place there, and the hotel parking lot. They had fought for years to get all that stuff removed.
Yeah.
Anyway, same thing. We were up there at 6:30 is what I'm saying. And so we were in once things were open and we can finally get out there. I mean, you know, you can barely see, there's a mist hanging over the wheat field area. And that's where I took a photo, which I still have. If I remember on the later broadcast, I'll pull that out and we can show it to everybody, because there's no statue at the edge of those trees, but there's somebody standing there in a gray uniform. You can see it in the photo. Yeah. My brother saw nothing. My brother didn't believe in anything. So once we got into the middle of that, and then we were walking, we get out of the car and we physically walked, and we made our way to Devil's Den and some of that area. That's where he became really weird. And he said that he just felt real sad, and he felt, you know, all the death and the emotion. And he's not emotional like that. He doesn't really say too much. You know, that's the only incident that I felt I had there, because I didn't really see anything until we produced those pictures later. We took them to a photo mat place. It was in 2001 when I went. So it was quite a while back, but it's an amazing place. You know, if you go there and don't feel anything, something's wrong with you.
It totally took over my entire life. Gettysburg is like I have the coordinates tattooed on me. You know, I go probably 15 times a year. And as I've gone on, you know, again, you know, in my normal everyday life, investigative life and stuff like that, I can't see things. I can sometimes hear, you know, but when I'm in Gettysburg, I, you know, experience everything. I've seen things, I felt things, I've heard things, I've captured things on camera, definitely audio, and it's all intelligent. Except for the picture I got, but the EVPs are mostly intelligent.
Yeah. Have you had Mark on your show, Mark Nesbitt?
Yes.
You know who Mark is? Yeah, I've been friends with him for years. Yeah, and had him on years ago, and he's just so interesting to talk to, and great individual. But we you know, we had an interesting visit there. You know, we walked the town. Again, all the way from our hotel, we decided we're not going to drive the car around. You know how the town is. It's like a wagon wheel the way it's set up.
Yeah.
But it encountered a lot of strange things, different things in there. I know I'm going to forget what it is. There's a museum there that was the one where the children were abused.
Orphanage.
We felt weird in there, and I had some weird things happen to me in there that I won't go into, but Just a very interesting place. And I think it's, you know, obviously with all the death and things that happen there, there's obviously something there. Let's just say that there's just something there. There has to be.
Yeah. There's a, I don't know if I can look, I can't look it up, but there's a Joshua Chamberlain who is my favorite. 20th Maine. He's my favorite Civil War hero. I love Joshua, everything Chamberlain. But anyways, he actually, you know, has a quote about like lingering spirits and coming back there to honor the people that have fought there and everything. And he actually himself would go back on the anniversary of, you know, when he did, you know, bayonets, when you know, they were trying to take over Little Round Top.
You mean that Joshua Chamberlain?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got his book. Yeah, that's weird you said that. He's one of my guys too. And
yeah,
amazing individual. Very
oh my
amazing
God.
individual.
Yeah, incredible. And
even after the war.
Yeah. Yeah. So so I don't even know where's I going with that?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Just when you said Joshua Chamberlain, said there's no way in hell he's your favorite. That's my favorite.
Oh, he is, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really think if there's such thing as past lives, me and him are probably married somewhere down the road. I just love him. I mean, and
was he a good kisser? Everybody wants to know.
I think so. The beard kind of, it's like, I mean, the stash got in the way, you know,
right.
but so I every time I go there, that's my spot, you know. And one time I decided to do an EVP session there, and I had asked, "Are you from Pennsylvania?" Because you're in Pennsylvania, you know. But the recording, there was a gentleman's voice that answered, "No, Maine." And I was like, "Did that just say fucking Maine?" Like, I turn around, I'm like sitting on the 20th Maine Monument, like, like for it to hear, you know, I could have asked, "Are you from Maine?" And you could just hear like a yeah, and that's questionable. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can always question something that simple, but to get that answer.
Yeah, when you get swearing, yeah, that's when I know when I'm using the ghost box, and you know, we're letting it run for a few minutes just to see what we're getting as far as open traffic, you know. And when you get a lot of swear words or things telling us to leave, get out, and of course there's the, you know, naughty words that come into play, that's when I know I'm.
Oh no, I love those ones. Yeah, I love those spirits. I always want them to. I love those spirits. I don't try to get that, you know what I mean, to come out.
No, I don't ever call them out either. I mean,
yeah.
Just randomly, we have people who, you know, I say they're a-holes in life and they're a-holes on the other side, and
yeah.
There's once in a while they'll go after the girls first, then they start, you know, saying stuff to the guys. But that's here and there.
Yeah.
I think it's very ironic.
I was going with that, though. I feel like you asked me a question and I started to answer it, but anyways, I go there 15 times a year now, and it's just amazing, that place.
I think it's very ironic. I'm listening to the two of you talk about Gettysburg, and the whole time I you know, I don't know if Danny watches all my videos or not, but I just rehashed our two paranormal investigation videos from Gettysburg when Mark and I and his wife and our friend were there back in October 2020. And as I was re-uploading the videos, I was watching, and you know, the wheat field, definitely a place where we were feeling a lot of things. But what you said, Danny, about your brother with Devil's Den, in the second video that we done, I had to actually, I was so overcome with depression and sadness and everything, I actually had to sit down on one of the large rocks and just take a breath and shed a tear, and then, you know, start the camera rolling and speak what I was feeling right there. And, you know, it's ironic that I'm sitting here and I'm listening to what you're saying, TARYN, what TARYN's saying on the stream. And it's like, my God, you know, the experiences that we all shared, we shared at the same locations there.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, I mean, I've never felt anything sad. I've never felt anything, you know, I feel like I'm picking up on the stuff that went on in between, the conversations, the having a drink, a smoke, talking about like when I get home, like that, the all that stuff in between, like, and I I have a lot of respect for both sides of everything that went down there. I mean, Pickett's charge was, I can't even imagine walking that and knowing you're walking to death, and it's just like it just amazes me the bravery of men back then, even boys. There's 12-year-olds that would lie about their age to fight. I look at my brothers now, I'm like, they wouldn't walk.
This generation wouldn't do it. Yeah, any of that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, we I don't know if we had to have permission or not, but we asked the ranger again, who was on where Pickett started off, and we were looking up, from where the farms to the right, and they've got the tower and all that stuff. We're in the woods, and he said, well, if you guys want to walk up there, go ahead. So we took the walk, and I want to tell everybody, when you see these portions of that farmland that sink down in, there's a part where you're walking and all of a sudden the ground goes like this, and you can't see up there. Mm-mm. You cannot see what you're walking into. And to judge that distance, yeah, you're right. Bravery doesn't even begin. I would almost use the term insanity, but
these guys, but they did it.
Oh, these guys were walking into grape shot. We all know what that does to people, and just taking out big holes in the lines. And yeah, you're right, TARYN. That's crazy. Incredible. It's an incredible feat of bravery right there. Just crazy.
Yeah. So I go for the reenactments every year, and normally, I mean, I used to go for 10 days. I would be there for 10 days. So I was there for the reenactments. I was there for Bike Week. I was there they have a vintage baseball game that they play back from 1863. So they play with the uniforms from back then, equipment from back then, all by the same rules. And there's like 25 teams that come out from all over the country. And it's like a 2-day like tournament. So it was like, I would do the reenactments, I would do Bike Week, and then I would do that. And then I would come. I never wanted to leave, but then I would come home. But I was going to say two things here, Mark, about Mark. Mark just, he put my soldier picture up in his Ghosts of Gettysburg store on Baltimore Pike in Gettysburg. Very cool. So my picture's hanging up in his store, and everybody, people that don't do this are like, are you getting paid for that? And I'm like, that's all the money I need. My picture's hanging on Mark Nesbitt's wall. I'm good.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. No joke.
I don't.
Yeah. So when I go there, I'm planning a trip there this year with my brother. I'll say, I know that person that put that picture. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very cool. You're famous.
And Devil's Den, I'll tell you, I don't know if you know this, but the history of that goes back way before the Civil War. It was an Indian reservation, and there were black snakes, and they called the black snakes the devil, and the black snakes would hide in those rocks.
Right.
Hence is where it got its name, Devil's Den. It didn't get it during the Civil War. It was like way before, because of black snakes that apparently were, living in there, and the Indians would call them, the devil.
Wow. So most of all the stuff that's happened to you has started you on your journey.
Yeah.
This is where, and so I think that I won't say full circle, but you've come to a point where, you realized that you wanted to start, doing the podcasting thing too, a little more seriously. How's that been going for you? I mean, I catch you when I can. I catch your program when I can. Everybody always wants to say, are you watching my show? I try to catch everybody's damn podcast. But
I know.
There's so many people doing it. But how's that going for you? And what kind of fulfillment are you really getting out of that at this point?
So I started 2017. And I look back at my 2017, and it's like, I want to get rid of them because they're very embarrassing, but I keep them because I see where I am at now, totally had no clue what I was doing back then. Love the people that I started Paranormal Brew with, because, I was originally with 2 other people. And then, so I started with, it was me and Mike Brown. And then Beth Harper O'Brien, she joined. It was just the 3 of us for about a year. Then they had to step back. And then my best friend Sabrina and her boyfriend joined me for a little bit. they had to step back. And this isn't against anybody that's ever, done the podcast with me, because I love you all dearly. But once I was by myself, it seemed to be able to just flourish from there. Once I was like by myself, I started to, because with being with them, it was like I never did anything without talking to them. You know what I mean? And sometimes our show, because they couldn't make it, then I would have to postpone it. It was just this big. So, but like once I was by myself and I could just run it and do it the way I want, that was when I started to teach myself and do things and meet people and get more guests on.
Right.
And my hope is that the people that I have on, they get heard, because the TV shows, entertainment, it's, I always think about the 14-year-old that's watching and thinking he's watching what Zach Baggins is doing and thinking that's what he's supposed to do. And he goes out to investigate without not realizing, this is TV. This isn't what you do. So I wanted to get the education out there that that's not really how it is, first of all. And then secondly was, for my peers, I wanted them to be heard, like people that do benefits or other groups out there to, like, hopefully there's people that are watching if they need help and they see this like paranormal group that does this and they're talking, and, you're getting a good name out there. They just don't, you're not just like calling up any hokey pokey people, and they know what to look out for. They're hearing certain things to look out for, make sure they don't charge money, make sure they don't do this, they don't do that, So it's kind of that.
Yeah. It's definitely the same message that I've had, the 15 years I've been at this, and, doing the early days of blog talk and what I'm up to now. I've taken breaks here and there, still running the group, still doing all these things. And that's always been, I think, my ongoing mission too. I think when you and I have talked, I think that we have shared that interest, that we definitely want to have people who are, real, that any claims that they're making about what they do, or whether it be a group, an individual, I don't care what it is, that we try to back check that. I mean, I ran into that early on, in the paranormal field, where you have all these people want to do a podcast. Everybody was self-proclaimed demonologists, self-proclaimed everything.
Right.
I'm a self-proclaimed, paranormal investigator. I didn't go to school for it.
I'm a self-proclaimed angel. Nobody believes me, but I try.
I identify. Yeah. One of those things. But you know where I'm going with this. So, I think people putting in, working in the trenches, the people that you have on your show, that's what I focus mostly on. It's great to have the names. We all do the circle of getting who's popular right now. Jason has always been out there, that's one of them. But, we go after a lot of these people, but at the same time, we go after a lot of the local folks too. That's a lot of what I'll have on my podcast and my programs, because I want to hear about, what they do, the work that they do, where they come from.
Absolutely.
All that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, for so long for me, it was just ghosts, if you will. I'm going to use that term for lack of better description. We're just going to say, or if you want me to say Casper. Okay. It, for the longest time, that's what I focused on was, just ghosts. And then and then I was like, you know what? I want to learn more.
Right.
So I said, I want to learn everything. I want to know how people research Bigfoot. I want to know how people research UFOs. I want to know Men in Black. I want to know Mothman. Whether I believe in it or not, there's people out there that do, and there's people out there that research. I wanted to learn. I just want to learn everything. And I also I've had physicians, doctors with medical degrees that are paranormal investigators on. I've had parapsychologists on. I've had UFO people. I've had an array of guests that I can't even tell you are just. I'm so thankful for all of them, because they've been all, except for one, awesome.
Well, the message, like I was going for there, as you already so eloquently put, was, we'd like to educate folks as we're putting people on too. I want, different points of view. I want different opinions, different belief systems. I don't find anything wrong with that, as long as everybody can talk decent to each other. Or I never have anybody on the show to ambush them. I always tell them that. Once in a while, when I've gone to have a guest on, they'll ask me what questions I'm going to ask, or they give me, if I have anybody tell me that they only want specific amount of questions asked or a certain way, then I won't have them on.
Right.
I tell them that my thing is not to ambush you here, to call you out on anything. I just want to give you your time to talk about what it is, like you tonight, to talk about what it is you do, what you believe in, and how you operate. Again, when you talked about getting, involved in that group early on, that's kind of how I operated when I started SMP, because I wasn't sure where to go. And that's why I got a hold of Jason and Grant when they were together at the time. And this is when MySpace was still a thing. Facebook hadn't really started to happen yet. So it was a little hard to get in touch with them, because I knew who Taps was. I was following a lot of different things that were out on the line, but we just didn't have what we have now as far as information.
Right.
And, he told me to run it like a business, and he told me why. And when I watched certain episodes, I understood why. But going through and understanding and learning from others is how we better ourselves in this
Absolutely.
field. I'm still learning. I don't know it all. I mean, my group's done 287 investigations, but I still tell everybody, it's like, that does not make me an expert. That does not make me anything but experienced at this point. And then they'll say, well, experience of what? And then I'll relay stories, and that's what I'm going to hit you with next. So, when I relay stories and I relay cases, I had to do a lot of learning. Humble pie was a big part of that. Being skeptical is okay to a point, but also, putting a lot of different things into the mix, if I'm making any sense here. So, metaphysical, spiritual,
right.
It all goes in the mix. And then you've got to sit back with some of the better people you've asked into your group to try to figure out, with an educated guess, what you think the hell's going on.
Right.
And that's where I'm still at.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, not a lot of people will like this, what I'm going to say, but I mean, I work very closely with Kenny Biddle. I mean, I go to him if I have any questions about anything of my evidence, or if somebody brings me something or shows me something that I can't explain, I'll always just kind of curbside him on it. And I actually, came recently, was I don't want to say victim, because that sounds too harsh, but because it's my fault. I didn't I learned the hard way to research your guests. Because I had been lucky up until this point. But I had a fraud come on my show. I'm still trying to I want to fix that. I want to make that right for our community. I don't want it to keep happening, and it is. So still working on that. But, I had to learn that the hard way. So, I mean, my go-to for stuff like that is him. And we've been working together on it, and he's been so helpful of getting facts and information. I mean, he's just really good at that. And for me, I think people like him are so pivotal for our field, because you have so many people running around faking stuff and not.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have these people that are going to come after us, that are going to learn from these people that have no sorry, am I allowed to curse?
You can curse all you want. Yeah.
They're going to be no clue what they're doing, and it's really sad. Now, I am happy that Ghost Hunters is back, and I don't know if anybody has had the, availability to see it. But that's old fashioned.
No.
It's old school. I love it. They're actually helping these people. It's like how it really is done. The people aren't, when you watch Dead Files, sorry again, no offense to anybody that likes Dead Files, but
you're calling out all the shit that I keep going.
I mean,
girl.
They walk out, and the people are wanting to burn their house down, leave, sell it, and, scared to death, and that was one of the things I loved about having Jason on, because he touched on all that. He's like, it's rare. Demons are so rare, and he's like, and he's like, I've been doing this 30 plus years. And he's like, and I don't even know if I've ever come in contact with the real McCoy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's, I mean, And don't quote me on that either, because I can't remember, but I remember
No,
him
but I get what you're
saying,
saying. Yeah, I understand. I understand completely.
so ghost hunters to me, I've always looked up to them. I mean, they do it the right way. They go in there, they talk to the clients, and afterwards they explain stuff to them. You know, they get an EVP that says get out. They're not telling them, oh, it wants you out. It wants to rape your daughter and kill your father, and you know, make sure you
Your
hate
sister's
yourself.
uncle on your brother's side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's yeah, I'm the same way. When I was telling Drew early on that when I give my lectures, I do historic ghost tours here at Henderson Castle in Kalamazoo. There's just, you know, a shameless plug. But really, honestly, I do the same thing, and I get a lot of deer in the headlights, and they'll ask me what are the better shows, you know, and I don't want to start having people come after me for slander, but I'm like you. I speak the truth. I said, are you ready to hear what I'm going to say?
right.
And that's what I'll say. I always put, you know, Jason and Grant too, those guys ahead of all the other stuff that's out there. I'm friends with a gentleman here out of Oakland, Michigan, and he used to work on Unsolved Mysteries. He also worked at Paranormal State. You know, the new kids. He worked on that for a short time, and John walked away from both programs because he was tired of all the lying, and the setups and all the bullshit. So, you know, I've been privy enough to meet a few of the folks and talk to them, but I'm just like you. It's just that's still the best example. I tell everybody, if you watch how they run things, how they set up their group, how they do review, which is how you should do it, and no, it's not done in one night. You know, he'll tell you that, you know, there's a lot of stuff happening there. I'm just agreeing with you 100% that is the best example that
Yeah.
I feel also that is out there. I really do.
For sure.
You know, Ghost Adventures, I've met the guy, had drinks with the guy. I'm not going to say bad, horrible things about him, but it's entertainment. All the other stuff that I've watched since, I just like, you know, even Dead Files, like you said, I would scream and yell at the TV and have to leave. And my wife would like, why are you watching it to begin with when all you're going to do is yell?
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, I watched let me see, Ghost Hunters. I haven't watched any of the other ones. I mean, I started to watch Ghost Adventures in the very beginning because it was hilarious to me. His reactions to things and stuff, I would just laugh. I'm like, why is he so exaggeratory? And the medium shirts have got to go. Like, what is this dude doing? Right? Always like, he's so dramatic. But then it got to a point where I couldn't even watch it for the entertainment purpose. Like, I was like, I can't even stand it. But another one I do watch, I'll be honest, is Paranormal Caught on Camera. Not all of it is. I mean, you can most of it you can be like, okay, whatever. But then you get those one or two videos where you're like, wow, that's pretty weird.
Yeah, because you're looking for that catch, you know, when they've added stuff in.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't get it, and I'm with you. I'm just like, no, you know, is that real? That looks so real. I didn't see that. You know, I'm looking for these changes, these subtle changes in editing, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't catch them either. I'm with you on that. What do you think? Are you one of these people that prescribes to like a difference between a ghost and a spirit?
Mm-mm.
No. Do you have any? Have you given it thought?
Well, I always say human nature. We have to label everything, right? Who knows what it is? You know, you call it a ghost. I mean, ghost to me is. I early on I would say ghost
because that's the generic coverall for
right. I mean, it's just what, you know. Now I'm like, you know, now I don't know. I honestly, I like when I talk about it, I'm always like, well, you know, the spirit, or you know, if there is something there, you know, I say something, or you know what I mean? Because what do you call it? What is it? You know?
I'm just wondering if you're in that because you know, you've had guests, I'm sure, who have a distinction, and I've had the same people, and sometimes it doesn't fit with me either way. You know, I don't want to be rude to them, but I mean, I get the residual thing. I mean, we know what that is. That's just one that it's a play over. You know, it's energy that's trapped. I've just often felt that most spirits have some sort of intelligence to them. Maybe not all of what they were, you know, when they were alive, but maybe some, you know, have more than others. That's kind of where I'm at with it, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you would think a place like Gettysburg would be more residual, but like I said, I've only mostly have come in contact with intelligent. There was one night where you could hear cannon and you could hear a snare drum, which was amazing. I mean, the snare drum was the coolest. You know, it was like you could hear the music, and I was like, this is so cool. Like, And it was the only time that I've actually didn't hit record and was just enjoying the moment because I was hearing the music. I love music. So you could tell it was different. You could tell it wasn't some kid playing a drum. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's just like with EVPs. Like when you catch them on your recorder, you know, the voice, it just sounds different than a human voice. You know, it's something that, you know, you always go in your ear, you hear it and you're like, wait a minute, what was that? Because that sounded weird. You know, especially if you're listening to your audio for 3 hours, you know, you kind of get a sense of the sounds of the place that you're at and the people that is talking and the noises that they make, you know, and
Right.
then you hear that one thing and you're like, what was that? It's just because it sounds different. It's something
Yep.
out of the norm. So,
and I love you saying listening to your audio for 3 hours. That's another thing we have to remind people of, that when you've got so many recorders going and you set up equipment, it's not an overnight deal. Yeah.
Yeah. No. It really isn't. And I wish, like, over the years of going to Gettysburg, I know so many people that live there now. I know people that own restaurants and inns and like good friends. Like they're like, let me stay there and come here and do this and that. I mean, it's every time I go, I learn something new. Every time I have been there, quadrillion times, and I always learn something new. And the people there are amazing. I don't know where I was going with that damn shit. I was trying to make
you do your thing. There's no pressure here. This is just kind of like we're at the bar. We're just talking shit.
No, I know.
Talking paranormal
it's my
shit.
ADD. It just is out of control.
It's all good because I'm going to bounce around all over the place too. So we're, you know, it's all good. Back to the other part you're talking about, and I don't want to focus on the negative, you know. But I will say, you know, in the field, as I said, you know, I've met so many people over the years. Starting around 2006, you know, when I got together with a buddy, started going out, we called ourselves the Paranormals because we were anything but normal, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I would meet so many people that were professing to be psychics and mediums, and, you know, they'd have all these gifts, you know, they would allude to all this stuff. And I would tentatively listen to most of them. But coming from a law enforcement and security background,
right,
I was very suspicious automatically of a lot of different, you know, hits and certain ways that they would speak. And so, you know, once I went looking, and it's not that I'm out here to ruin anybody. It's just that I wanted to check. And I was hurt and let down quite often with a few people that I ended up becoming friends with, that type of thing. So if I were to ask somebody into a house to help, let's say I did a private investigation case, it started to matter to me, obviously. Well, it did from the start, but it mattered to me that I don't want to bring a phony in here.
Absolutely.
You know, I met good people like Rob Conover, God rest his soul. He's since passed on. He used to, you know, he was on Travel Channel and different things. He used to do really good work. But as I said, even investigators and other people, you know, I ran afoul of some folks up here, and I got a whole line of haters, you know, and the weird part to that is too, and I'm sure you've gone through this as well. You know, when you're doing this, when you're doing things right and you're succeeding and things are working for you, these people come out of the woodwork that you might have called friends at one time. And then the next thing you know, they're trying to ruin you and bring you down. You know, that's the sad state that still goes on with this field. There's just these people who think you're still in high school. You know, I'm an adult, and I thought, well, man, you know, it's just like being back in junior high. I don't really like this.
I mean, knock on wood, I haven't really. I mean, early on when I was a part of the groups, yeah, there was a lot of drama, you know, but from doing this, I really haven't had any numbers. I'm sure there's people out there that don't like me because I'm very transparent. I'm open. I'm blunt. I'm confrontational. If I, you know, so, I mean, and that can come across as being a bitch. So I'm sure there's people out there that don't like me or think I'm an asshole or whatever, you know, but I mean,
so what? Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about it. You know, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like I'm a confrontational person. I'm very open to listen to somebody what they got to say. You know, but you just got to be prepared to hear what I got to say back.
Yeah, and I knew that about you when I first came across you, because seeing that we were both in the same belief corner as to politics going on, which we won't bring into the show, but I like what you stand for, and that's a good thing. What I wanted to go to next, you know, is equipment and stuff. You know, when you started investigating, and I know you're still going out and wanting to do things. That has been just this weird dichotomy of change, is it not? I mean, we went from digital recorders to digital cameras to a notepad and a flashlight, even old school VHS recorders. I had one when I started in my group, to all these crazy things that you see on these shows, and everybody goes running with their ass on fire to buy them. Let's cover that a little bit. I want to know where you're at with some of this stuff.
I always say a good investigator and an open skeptic will hate me for this, but I really prefer just my recorder and myself, and a notebook and a pen. I will bring a camera just in case, but the chances of catching anything on camera is very slim. So unless you're like constantly and you have you're like have video cameras everywhere and stuff like that. I mean, that's a different story. I mean, there's people, but little old me going somewhere. I bring my recorder, and I have, when I first started, I probably had like $10,000 worth of equipment, and half of it broke.
It's all made in China.
Yeah. Half of it broke. And the rest of it I don't use. It sits in my bag. Now, if I'm doing an event for somewhere, you know what I mean, a couple of times, or if I'm going to I work with Ghostly Excursions, and I help them out with their events when they do events like in Pennsylvania and stuff like that. I'll bring my equipment for the people that are there that pay to do the events. I let them play with some of the stuff. But other than that, even when I do, like if I go to Pennhurst, I love it because I help Pennhurst out as well.
Yeah.
During Halloween season, or if there's a Paracon or something, but I'll bring my equipment. But again, I got my recorder. I love Pennhurst. Fort Mifflin's the same thing. I'll bring my equipment for the people, but I'm helping Fort Mifflin out, so I just have my recorder. I let the people run the investigation, because to me it's like that's their investigation. So I'm just there to kind of help
and lend support. Yeah, I get you. I just laugh at all the stuff, as I said, that has come along, which still, as a paranormal investigator, just, I got to ride the wave, and I got people coming up to me at these events. They'll have like the cell sensor. Remember those? They still make them. And I said, listen, I don't want to, hurt your feelings, but I started out with that. It's very sensitive. Here's what you need to look out for.
Yeah.
Same with K2s, all the stuff that some of the current people are still using. I've gone through the bevy of this stuff, but I will not put a colander on my head, just letting everybody know, nor am I going to be using, a scanner from the supermarket hooked to an obelisk, which is already pre-directed with 150 word syntax in it, thinking that some ghost is talking to me. Just want to put that out there. I'm not going to do it. Okay. It's not going to happen.
I had a real time EVP recorder, but then I can hear with my ears. So, but it broke anyway. But if I can, I bring baby powder if it's somewhere where I can put baby powder on the floor and stuff like that. Like I'll use stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. We've done that.
Yeah. I was
old school.
Yeah. I'm not big on the gadgets because, they're man-made. Anything can probably
be manipulated.
Manipulated. Yeah. And it wouldn't stand up to anything, because I'm sure there's Kenny Biddles all over that tear apart. He literally rips equipment apart and to put it back together to see, you know what I mean? So, now, what was I going to say?
Have you, I think you're supposed, are you going to be on, or you're having on Studio 6? You know who that is? Studio 6 Paranormal?
Yeah.
Shane Feek, who's on there, he's in my group, and he's my physicist and engineer. So what you were just touching on is he's built a board that does a lot of the handheld stuff that we were using, that we have. And Drew has seen it in action, and we've had it out at a couple different investigations. And I love what this guy's put together, but we had a really distinct thing happen with that. But it's nice to have the science guy included, because I still keep a hard copy of every investigation we've done.
Me too.
It's right here behind me. It's about a 4 foot tall filing cabinet, and I'll write up reports and I'll put them in there. I keep digital stuff too, and there's a reason. I tell people I do that so I can cross-reference when we're doing something else, that something happens at this place that it kind of reminds me of another thing that we did. Then I'll pull that out just to kind of Does that make sense? Cross-reference the
Absolutely.
information so it can kind of get a better feel for the investigation.
I have all of my investigating logs. I have all my training material. I have everything. I mean, like, I have everything. I will say one piece of equipment that I do like, the tri-field meter.
Yeah, that's very underrated. You know, a lot of people were using those very early on, and I got a chance to use one of those on Garden Island, which is up here. It was a Native American island, and no lights, no boats, no motor cars. I mean, it's literally Gilligan's Island. And we were up there filming a movie, and I went along in support. But the person I was there with happened to have one of those. And so I had a great time messing around with that, you know, picking up, you know, the energy field on everybody in the party, because you can set it to so many different things to do on there. And the natural radiation sensor that's in there too was really odd, you know, for the island, because the only thing that's on the island is dead people. There's a cemetery there, so that was kind of special. But I do like those. Have you noticed the price has gone
way up? I know.
Through the roof. Yeah,
and it sucks because I for the longest time, I'm like, I need a tri-field meter. I want a tri-field meter, and I slept on it, and now it's like, you know, I'll just stick with you know, I'll just stick with what I got here until you know.
Drew's typing his little fingers away. It's all click, click, click going on.
I know.
I think he's trying to keep up with all the guys over there
like
cracking
he's
jokes in the chat. I don't know what they're talking about. I'm reading half of it.
Living Histories Mysteries is that?
Yeah, whatever.
Like,
yeah.
Angry.
We can hear you over there, noisy hands. Good Lord. Hi. I wanted to ask you something very personal.
Go ahead.
Well, it's not like super personal, but so has anything since you've started working in this field, has anything new happened to you that you think is sending you a message? I'll tell you why I asked that after you answer it.
Anything new?
Yeah. Anything going on with you? You feel that might be new to you since you've started doing this? Like something is, I won't say reaching out, but something's, I guess, reaching out to affect you, to touch you, send you in a direction.
I honestly, there is something going on, but not sure what. I mean, I'm not working right now, so I think, like, and I'm home a lot, so I don't know if it's just my head, you know what I mean, you know what I mean, but there's definitely something, and I was sitting there thinking about it today, and I think I'll without going into details, I'm going to say that you know, investigating and doing all this stuff really means a lot to me, only because I feel like the biggest things that have happened to me in my life, spiritual wise, like any type of significant connection that I had with either, like, taking that picture of the soldier, that has a significant background to it for me, which always leads back to my father. So for me, I think, you know, I remember my dad always saying, "Oh, you have the heart to be a nurse. You got to be a nurse." I'm like, I don't want to be a nurse. You know, I don't want to work in a hospital. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to do that. But this is kind of in the same thing, like also being a police officer, you're helping people, you know, you're helping people. So I think he's like, okay, fine. He's like giving in. He's like, all right, fine. You want to do this? Then fine. I'll help you out with this then. I'll help you out with this. So I do think my dad is definitely helping me with all of this. That's kind of where I was going with that. I was picking up something. Everybody was giving me a little hard time there in the chat, because it's like Drew's just sitting there listening. I'm doing all the talking. I'm one of those guys. You better speak up, or you won't get a word in edgewise. You know how it goes.
I got to interview TARYN last year, and just a few months ago, and I loved it. I'd love to have her back on the new channel sometime, because, you know, she's so good with the people. She's don't interrupt the man's cigar. She's good at communicating with people. She knows what she's talking about. You know, I'm sitting back enjoying just hearing the different angle of questions than, you know, what I threw out at her. You know,
I don't stick to the script, man. I told you, I just throw shit out there.
And see,
It's personal
that's
stuff that I'm wondering about.
Yeah.
That's where I made my
Ask away.
mistake. You know, that's where I made my mistake at, because much like the girl I've got on tomorrow night from Finland with a Wolf Ponds Paranormals, Yelena Wolf. I've been watching her. She's only been doing this for 6 months, but I've been watching all of her videos and writing down questions. And it's like, dude, I need to just shoot from the hip with this stuff, because it seems like the more open the question, the more open the answer. So
I'm trying to find so many different ways to, because having all these guests on, I'm sure TARYN will speak to this. You start asking all the same shit, and then you get to a point you're like, everything sounds like each podcast starts to sound exactly like the other because you're asking the same shit.
Yeah, and that's why for me, I try to just I don't have a script. I don't have an agenda. I don't care what we could talk about. The movie Guys and Dolls for an hour for all we care. I don't care. Like, just
wow.
I don't know.
That's a musical reference. Okay.
Wow.
That was the first thing that came to my head.
Yeah, had you said Brigadoon, I'd have really shat my pants. But go ahead. That is funny.
So,
see that right there? Yeah.
Well,
see that right there.
I ask a lot of the same questions because, much like with TARYN, what got you involved in the paranormal? Well, what got TARYN involved in the paranormal is completely different than what got me involved, what got you involved, what got Yelena involved. So I do ask a lot of the same questions over and over again.
Everybody has a different story, and it's interesting to see where people come to. So that question is, is a given. Plus, if you have people watching or listening that don't know who they are, you know what I mean? It kind of, because there's a lot of people that watch that are not sure they have these things going on and they don't know where to go. They don't know who to reach out to. Right. You hope that there's that one person that's watching that's going through the same thing that my guest is going through. You know what I mean? Or is knowledgeable on, and now this person has an outlet. They have somewhere to go. They can talk to somebody, you know what I mean? And say, and to me, I think that's a good thing. And which is why, when I had that fraud on, I'm very, very upset about it, really. So
you weren't the only one.
I know
we had them on too.
Yeah. But I'm doing my best to fix that and make it right. So, in time that will happen. But that's important to me because somebody will see that and who knows, reach out to that person and they're going to be not being taken care of, the way that any of us would do that, who morally and morally would do the right thing.
Yeah, it's really odd, I mean, not to keep harping on it, but I had it happen to me in the past. Go back to, again, Blog Talk years, if you don't mind hearing the story. We're just shooting the shit here. Yeah. I was doing the Big Dog show over there, and I think I told you, TARYN, that I had this guy that came on, so kind of almost the same story, except you said he had cancer too. I'm gay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we feel bad. Who cares? Part of the show.
Yep.
And he's dying of cancer, and then it reached a point where he was outed by one of the people on Blog Talk that we became friends with, one of the producers. And Sonny's like, I got bad news with this guy's done this before, and here's who it is. And, I felt so used because I thought I was a little smarter than that, because the way that he was coming in and going out, it was just a real quick type of deal. And at that point, I had no interest in finding out who anybody was that was coming on the show, phoning in or donating money,
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying, because once that happened to me, I was so outraged. I'm like, what is the point? What do you get out of this that you would lie about 100% about who you are and what you're doing and trying, you know what I mean? I didn't get it.
I think as I am researching this person, and finding more and more out about his history and stuff, I think he definitely does have an agenda and a motive. And it's a shame what he's doing. But I worry about the integrity of my show. I worry about the integrity of my peers' podcasts, he's been on. I worry about, we're already we already look like we're gimmicky and it's fake. People all, and then you have this guy. It's like, find somewhere else to go, dude. Get
It's an
away.
integrity buster. Yeah, it's an integrity buster when you're trying to have that integrity to your show. And
I gave him the option. I confronted him. Like I told you, I am confrontational. I confronted him and I told him either
she did. She showed me what she said to him.
Yeah.
And then once I followed suit and said, "Hey, I just want the truth, boy," I got the same treatment, blocked and the whole schmeal. But we'll figure it out. The weird part to this story too is that, with the psychic mediums and even people that do what you and I do, all three of us do here with podcasts.
Yeah.
When I was talking about that integrity thing, we've had guests on. I'm going to be honest. I've had guests on that I won't say I necessarily believe that they believe what they're believing in, or, but that's not what I'm there to do. Or they're out there to make a buck and, they're doing the podcast circuit, or they're doing whatever they're doing. Doesn't matter. But when you just have somebody that's outright and then offering phone number, and then that would just blew me away when I asked you, I just want to say this. I asked you straight up. Remember, I said the name. Tell me it's not so-and-so, because I had some weird feelings from the beginning.
Yeah.
Some shit didn't fire up for me, especially the whole Ted Bundy crap. So and you look for language when people are involved in a career. You look for them to say specific words or have a certain way about them when they talk about their field or what they do. And if they give you roundabout answers and never answer you directly, you're on to somebody who's a fraud. That's all I want to say. That's all I want to say about it.
Well, and watching my show, the first thing he said to me was, the first time he saw a ghost, he was 4, and he said it was Abraham Lincoln, and that was and I stopped him and I go, how did you know who Abraham Lincoln? You knew who Abraham Lincoln was at 4 years old?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, everybody knew. I lived in Illinois, and it's like
my juice out. Jesus.
At 4, I mean, you could walk in my house. My grandmother, now I'm half Italian, so Frank Sinatra, you would have thought was married to my grandmother and not my grandfather, because there was Frank Sinatra stuff everywhere. So it was always Frank, right? 4 years old, I didn't know who Frank was. You know what I mean? Even though he was like basically living in our house day in and day that, I didn't know who Frank Sinatra was at 4. But that was my first thing, and then all of a sudden it just started to go downhill from there. I
get you. I wanted to maintain a kindness, even though I'd said some things on there, but I don't know. I had again, there were suspicions.
But all I have to say is
and hearing different stories from what was told to me and what you've seen on other things. Yeah, I guess I'll just leave it there. But I mean, just what the shit, man?
What the shit?
The shit?
All I can do is I can't stress enough for everybody. Just research your people, research the people coming on, because there could be somebody, that's in a really bad place and watches your show, reaches out to this person that's on your show, and they could be steered in the very wrong
manipulated
direction.
And used. Yeah. And that's not healthy. And I mean, I told Drew that I stepped away from private investigations for a while. I'll still do it. If somebody comes to me one-on-one and I know them, I'm comfortable with them. I'll talk to them, because I'm working with a couple of people that I know locally, but I stepped away, and I stepped away for a lot of reasons. And the biggest reason was 2 of the people that I trusted in the field passed away, and I didn't have good people to send them to,
Right.
I try to find better groups too. I'm always looking. I'm not out here judging people just to be, the dick or an asshole.
Right.
I'm honestly just looking for people who are going to come in and give them their best guess. Like you said, don't charge money. I've never charged $1 for anything I've ever done. But who are going to be sensible and operate on a science and a spiritual. I guess a couple things I look for in certain groups are people that say they're doing investigating, like working with Drew and a few other people. There's things that they do that I like, and I'm like you. I am a tough nut when it comes to wanting to befriend somebody or work with them, because like just what happened is that I want to be trusting. I want to make sure I'm in touch with the right people.
I mean, I haven't done a private investigation in a long time. I mean, I've had cases come across me But luckily, we were able to help the family without doing an investigation. And to me, that's a successful case, not doing an investigation, because you're not going into the private homes to get evidence. You're going in there to help these people.
To help them, right? Because they want a result at the end of your investigation to show that they're
no matter what the result is.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
would say actually happening, and here's what do you want to do?
Right. And for me, I tell people, like, because I give them a questionnaire. It's 52 questions. They get this questionnaire, they fill them out, and there's a reasons that you ask certain questions. I mean, I have people that because I'm by myself, I have certain people that I will bring with me that I reach out to that I need to do an investigation with. Or if there's some of those questions are answered a little weird, or because I'm like Casper only, I will refer out to somebody that I know that deals with stuff that's a little bit on the more of the negative side. And when I say negative, I don't mean demon. Just mean, there's
right.
Just want to put that out there. But private cases to me are a lot different. And then I still check in with people that I've helped, but I give a 52 questionnaire and I check that shit when I go to the house. I will open drawers. I will look under your bed. I will open closets. I will make sure you're not lying to me.
Well, and I get why you do that, and it's because you care.
Yeah.
The bottom line is you care, and that's the same with me and my group. I tell everybody, it's like, listen, we got to do the best we can do for these people, and be very honest and forthright, and not tell them what they want to hear, because there's a lot of that still goes on too. I tell them, what it is that we feel is going on when I show them I've crossed the T, dotted the I's, but it's because we care. And like I said, I've stepped away from private stuff. I'm only working with 2 individuals that I know right now because they've got some small weird things going on. But at the same time, I get involved because I frickin' care. I'm not going to take advantage of these people. I want them to get the help. And if I can't figure it out within reasonable means, with doing the stuff that I know to do, I have some people, Christy Robinette, who I'll speak very openly about, as one of these people that I would send folks to. And another person that I won't speak openly about, but it took a long time to find those people and trust them too. I care, I care about helping these folks.
And you have to find the right, because dealing with a private case, it's all about the family and the people that are living in that house. So, they have to help. They got to do their part in it as well. So, I always give them an example, like, this is why, everything that you tell me is confidential. Nothing whatever you tell me is between us. I don't care what it is, because let me tell you, I have been told some stuff that I wish I never heard, but I have a confidentiality, so, but I tell them, I go, if you bring me in here, I'm a professional painter, and you have a leak, I find a leak and there's mold back there, but you just want me to paint that. You just want me to paint the water stain. I'm going to say, no, listen, you got to take care of that mold first in order for me to come back in and paint over it, or else I'm just going to be coming out here over and over and over again. And at some point I'm going to get affected by that mold. You know what I mean? So you need to take care of that first, and then I can come back and do my part. You know what I mean? So you have to work together.
I do. And I'm glad we brought this up, because for the longest time here, Mike McKelly, our local radio guy, he's since retired. He was running a soundbite of me every year, because I'm on the Halloween show every year. They got to have Dan on, talk about ghosts. And one of the things I said to him is that there's oftentimes, when this is when we were doing private investigation still on our docket, I said I'd come in and I'd turn into the paranormal social worker.
Yeah.
And that's just what you were alluding to, because people tell you things, and I tell them, listen, I'm not here to report to police. As long as you're not hurting babies, children, and puppies, we're good. Right. But, you can tell me you got family issues, or there's alcoholism or drug use. And we would encounter that quite often, to be honest. And I didn't still not want to give them the opportunity to say, well, we'll take a look and see what's going on, because questionnaires were very tough. They still are. I still have a questionnaire. Shane talked about that with us on another show the other night, that we run people through that gambit of questions, because we need to know. You asked me in as an outside observer, and, you try to do the best you can. And some of these people, are heartbroken by some of the activity that's going on because it frazzles their nerves. I mean, they may not be afraid, but there's so much going on that, they may have other existing things happening that it just makes life a hell for them.
Yeah,
And,
I think it's important. You have your first line of communication with the client.
mhm.
You send them the questionnaire, they fill it out, they send it back to you. You take that, you decide what kind of case this is. You take somebody to the house with you. You do a prelim, right? You go over the questions again with them while you're recording. You walk through the house. You check things. I can't tell you how many times, like. So there was a case where one of the questions is, are you on any medications, whatever. And it's like,
Yep.
None. And then we're walking through now. I'm in the medical field at this point. I know what psych meds are.
Yep.
Right. So I'm looking and I'm like, yeah, I got to go to the bathroom. Right. I see all these medications and the dates are old and stuff. And there's full bottles of medications there. So I go out there and I'm like, guys, and I'm straight up. I'm like, guys, I just looked in your medicine cabinet and there's like all this medicine in there. You didn't write that on the paper. What's going on?
Who's the schizophrenic in the crowd? Yeah.
Well, hand to God. The husband says, well, my wife is a schizophrenic and I don't think she should be taking her medications anymore. I said, we're done. I said, you need to take your wife and you guys got to figure this out. I said, I'm not going to have a team coming in here. I'm not going to be in here any longer with somebody who is an unmedicated schizophrenic. I'm sorry, that puts my team at risk and it's not happening.
That's a deal breaker.
Had I not done that, who knows what would have happened? I mean, you have a schizophrenic and people and all these like 6 people that you don't know are walking around your house in the dark at 10 o'clock at night. You know what I mean? Who knows what would have happened?
Yeah, and now you can't believe you don't have credibility in any of the stories they've been telling you the whole time either. Yeah, I've been there too. Yeah, and we had luckily I've got a couple of people on in the group that have medical training. That's how I met my wife before I switched careers, as we were nurses. So I'm with you. I bring a lot of things to the table, when I go into this stuff, but it's good to hear that you do that too. If a situation were to arise, you still got all your Indians lined up. Don't anybody send me hate mail on that. You got all your chickens lined up in your medical bag or your paranormal bag, so to speak. It's fun just shooting the poop about a lot of this stuff because it like you said, the integrity of what we do is so important. And when I want to share information through podcasting, whether it be my crazy ass adventures, and I've had so many, or you, the guest, to talk about some more stuff because I want to talk about a couple more things here. People, as I said, can continually learn from one another, take different notes, on things that, or maybe they've had shared experiences. It's all I'm trying to do is educate, and have people think outside the box. Not so far that you're jumping at everything, because I've heard a lot of fanciful stories, but at the same time, we're getting good people and we're getting them good help when we feel that's necessary.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's what you have to do. That's why I think more people that should be exposed that are not doing the right thing, So, I mean, it's got to stop. I mean, it has to stop. I mean, I was talking to somebody in the UK and they actually have to prove, I might be getting this wrong, but they have to prove he's trying to open up a school for like Wiccan and stuff like that, but he's got to prove that he has the background for that in order for them to allow him to open up his own business. Now I think about all the stores and crystal stores and this and that, and psychics and mediums and everything. Yeah. But there they have to show proof that they actually have some sort of credible
like study or something
backing behind it. Yeah. In order to open up their own business. So I said, wow, that would kind of, if you had to prove to the government, that you actually are psychic, and you're not gonna fake it to the government, so who knows? Maybe they're onto something. I don't know.
There's some constabularies, speaking on that, that they have real weird laws that are still on the books about, selling psychic information. And we have some stuff up here, and I'm friends with a person who ran afoul of that a few years back, and it still kind of haunts her, but that is what it is. I mean, we've had a lot of folks, on the shows about, the afterlife, near-death experiences and things of that nature. Where are you at with some of that?
I've never had a near-death experience. I believe people have. I mean, how do you argue some of the things that they have said, that they've seen, after being clinically pronounced dead. I started in the medical field as a CNA,
Okay.
in Ohio, actually. And I remember the first time I had to clean up a person after they passed away. And we were shorthanded, and I had to go in there by myself. And I was not informed that the body can do some weird things after you pass away.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Emptying the bowels. Yeah, all sorts of fun stuff. Yeah.
Open your eyes. No,
Yeah.
I'm like trying not to look at this woman's face. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm there. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. I'm like, do I really got to wash the entire body? I'm like, and I look up and she's like this and makes a noise. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, she's alive. I'm like screaming. I'm like, just freaking out, And then they come in and they're like, no, but the body.
It's amazing how that works.
I was like, a heads up would have been nice.
Yeah, the bone, throw a bone.
It's amazing how that works. TARYN says, the body can do weird things after it passes on. Danny thinks of emptying the bowels and stuff, and I'm thinking of uncontrolled muscle jerks, muscle spasms, hands moving, eyes opening, mouths open. Yeah.
My mom was a nurse, and my mom told me one time, because I went home, I was pretty shook up about it. I was like, that freaked me out, and she's just like, when she was in school and they were training at the hospital, she said one of the bodies actually like sat up and went back down. That I would have been like, okay, I'm in the wrong profession. I chose the wrong, I'm out. Nope.
My mom was a home health aide for years, and she used to take care of these elderly people when we were teenagers, and she went into a house of a couple she took care of, and they had both passed during the night watching TV.
Oh yeah.
So, he's sitting there in his chair holding the remote in his hand. Mm-hmm. And I guess he flinched or a muscle spasm occurred and TV turned on. My mom said she actually physically pissed herself. And then she realized his other hand was just once in a while, she'd get like a tick from a finger. And she's like, oh yeah, the brain's still sending messages to the body and the body's not responding properly. That's what that is. So I know exactly what you mean.
I had Haunted MD on, Don Molnar, Dr. Molnar.
Mm-hmm.
I had him on, and he was telling me some stories that he would experience like in the ER, like working in the ER late at night after he would pronounce somebody dead and stuff. And how, he told me one time about a story, because I've had him on probably 2 or 3 times. I love him. I'm going to have him on again, but he was, I don't remember the exact details, so I'm not going to kill his story, but I remember he said he was standing at the foot of the bed. He called the time of death, and he said all of a sudden this like weird breeze just like went past them. He's like, it wasn't, no windows were open, nothing, you know what I mean? He's like, it was so odd. He's like, but it was almost like I could feel that person, and I trust him. Like I don't know, I believe he experienced that, but he said he would have people that would tell him all kinds of things, like things that he said after he pronounced them dead, but then they would come back. Also, another thing that I'm starting to read up on is past lives. Like I saw a show about a 4-year-old, and he literally knew his address, picked his picture out of like all these pictures, said where he used to live, and he said he was an extra on a movie. He said what his name was. He said he was an extra on a movie, and his only part in the movie was taking this one gun and putting it into a gun cabinet. And the psychologists and the psychiatrists and like the people that were working with this kid Google, look this up, and sure enough, that actor that he claims he was, there's this one scene, he's in it, and he's like putting a gun into, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, I think this just changed my mind about past life, because before that I was like, am I going to come back as an ant? Like, I don't even know what's happening, you know, like,
Why did you
because
pick an ant?
well, because it depends on, like, you know, who you talk to, right? Like, so one of my best
Right.
friends is, you know, he's Hindu, and they believe, like, however you are in this life, when you come back in the next life. So if you're a piece of shit here, you're going to come back as like a fly, you know, or, you know, if you were a
Oh,
bad,
some of the
you
Hindu
know,
beliefs, yeah.
yeah. So I'm like, great. And so, you know, and he's one of my best friends. So I can always, like, whenever he's like telling me to kill something because he's afraid of bugs, I'm like, that could be your like great aunt or something,
Yeah,
you know?
that could be you next time around. What do you want me to do?
He's like, I don't care, kill it.
I'll tell you good. I mean, I never thought much of the program. I just started catching it in rerun. You know, when I'm at the hotel, I pull up Hulu and I can find it. It's The Ghost Inside My Child. I think you can run episodes of it on YouTube too. And they had a kid there that was in a battle there in the Civil War, and took his mom down there when he was little. He still remembers it now. Now he's getting ready to go to college. Found the guy's name. He told him what his name was. He described what he saw. There were some people who wrote down what had happened at the battle and where certain things were that weren't public knowledge. And I mean, everything this kid went to, it matched. And so he believed that, you know, he was that guy in a former life. There's
Yeah.
another kid who I remember seeing on this program, but he was on Unsolved Mysteries first, where he had died on the Arizona during Pearl Harbor. And he went and told them that he used to like the ends of bread, and he knew who his sister was, went to their house. She was still alive. Yeah, knew her and told her all this stuff.
And
Yeah, isn't
how
that
is that?
crazy? Isn't that crazy?
How do you explain that? See,
My daughter told us stories like that once, and I think all of us might have had. If you're drawn, I will tell you this, Taryn. If you feel there's times you're drawn to Gettysburg, obviously.
right. Yeah.
You know, if you got a special feeling in there, and I would almost say that maybe in a past life, maybe you were one of the soldiers. Who knows? Um, you know, but I know I'm always drawn to like certain kinds of music, Ireland, Scotland, a lot of things. And when we did our 23andMe thing, found out that I have Dane heritage and I'm Irish and French and German. So, and then
Yeah.
even a little Ojibwa. So there was a lot of different things that were pulling at me, and that explained all my interests. I think if it wasn't memory and genomes, maybe I lived these different parts of life
Right.
as different people. You know, it's just nuts. I just wonder
Yeah.
too.
No. Yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, like, there's a reason that I'm so patriotic. Like, I literally, in my soul, I am like all about the American flag, our military, our police, everything. You know, I'm so patriotic, and I feel like
Work the blue.
Gettysburg is the heartbeat of our nation. So going
Mhm.
there and being there, you know, I don't pick up on the bad stuff. I pick up on that patriotism, that fight for our country, you know, that the flag and everything like that. Like, it's a different feeling, you know, um and a lot of my, like, so I found out after doing some history, my fourth great grandfather, fourth or fifth, no, fourth or third great grandfather died on Big Round Top from a massive heart attack.
Wow.
Yeah. And then there's also a woman buried in the Evergreen Cemetery there. She has a hyphenated last name, but it's KERPER is the hyphenated last. You know, it's KERPER Deal is the name, but I can't find the connection yet.
But I'm sure there is. I'm sure that, you know, I look back to, you know, my mom's French side of the family out of Canada. Their last name was Gannett. Well, found there was a French connection on my Holroyd side too, because my great great grandmother was my great great grandfather's second wife. Her name was Vachelle, and come to find out, her father and her family were friends with Lafayette and came over with him because they were being ostracized in France for their religious beliefs. And when they came here, they, you know, one of my great grandfathers on the Vachelle side fought in the Revolutionary War and was awarded land, you know, out west. And so they settled in western parts of New York and then ended up making their way to Iowa. I know it's a long story, but, you know, the things I'm finding out and doing this research, knowing somebody like him, you know, that's a famous connection, but being part of that stuff that was going on with the United States and then the Holroyds, that's a whole crazy kooky ass story too, you know.
No, yeah, my great grandmother on my mom's side, she's from Quebec.
Mm-hmm.
She's from Canada, and when you look at, like, and I have like, I mean, obviously, my grandfather, this and that, but when I did my 23andMe, it was mostly I'm 50% Italian and then 50% German.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like little bits of pieces are
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I mean, mine,
little things
yeah.
are here and there, but I don't remember seeing any Canadian. I mean, even though it was that close to me, like it was my grandfather's mother. She was from Canada. I mean, she from Quebec, so I don't know why.
The
It was
shocker for me
La
is
Rochelle.
yeah,
was the last name.
What was the last name?
La Rochelle.
Okay, I thought you said Michelle. I'm like, we're related. Yeah, the bizarre thing for me was finding out that the Holroyds were Irish. Because they come from Yorkshire. This is where they settled. Well, the overall percentage of my heritage is Dane, then Irish, and then it moves down the ladder. And that makes sense because the Danes sacked parts of York when they first went to Ireland. Then they came over from Ireland and sacked parts of York. So that would be my family. And Holroyd means hollow by the road. So the earliest, I have it here in the house, the earliest thing I've traced it to in the heraldry house out of England is 1296. And it's Charles Baker Holroyd, who was the first Earl of Sheffield. That's my family. But he ended up not having children, so it was sold off to somebody else.
Oh, wow.
But the point is, I think if we all look hard enough, we're going to find that there's so many connections because these people marry other people and it branches out.
Oh, yeah.
So we're probably all related, I think, when it comes down to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? It's crazy because I with trying to figure out my family history and everything like that, even one little spell, like I know that when my family came over from like Germany, there was somebody spelled one of the last names like it was like KEORPER. So it was like okay, so that name is somewhere in here, but then I found out that I'm a daughter of the Revolution because two of my sixth great grandfather, my fifth great grandfather were in the Revolutionary War. They came from Germany and settled in PA, but then went and fought in the wars and stuff. War of 1812 is in my family.
God bless America.
Daniel Boone is in my history.
Big hero of mine. And
Madonna is my ninth cousin.
Not so much a big hero of mine. Not so much a big hero of mine at all. That's a whole other show.
Wow.
So
yeah, just go keep drinking your commie Starbucks coffee. Whatever.
And Helen Keller.
That's a cool one. That's pretty cool.
You know what's cool about that is when I was like in grade school, I was obsessed with her. I did like book reports about her. I read about her. I thought she was just magnificent. Like she lived such a magnificent life, and despite her disabilities.
Oh, yeah. It did some amazing things. Yeah, absolutely. Wrote books.
Yeah.
I mean, crazy shit. I was seeing on there Huntophobia, the Canada guy. I was going to tell him that I support the truckers, man. We were watching them today on YouTube. Go Canada. Love my Canadian brothers and sisters up there. That's where my great-great-grandmother was from. Grandfather too. And she was with the Turtle Clan up in the Sault Ste. Marie area. So
I mean, don't get me wrong. I want my Italian sweet cream coffee mate. Okay. I'm a little perturbed that I can't find that, but I'm kidding.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with TARYN 100% on that. I had to get Irish cream this week because there was no Irish sweet cream.
I'm kidding.
Well, excuse me. Yeah. I'm willing. I'm just saying, the same thing's going on in Australia and a couple other places, and not to get off subject here about, from paranormal to politics, but I just tell you, they've had enough. And I'm wondering when we're going to reach this point again where we've had enough.
Well, and
I've had enough.
The only time I think I would like react, and when I say react, meaning like I would have to go find the Friskies, food, truck 18-wheeler that has Friskies cat food on it.
Right.
Because you mess with my babies, I can't find cat food. I'm gonna like lose my mind.
That's another thing I was going to ask. Are you looking to get a new cat?
I'm always looking for a new cat, but
like a black that's got the little white up here on the head.
Oh, I love black cats.
Yeah, my wife, we're thinking about it. We lost our dog a little bit after Thanksgiving, so we're thinking to get something a little smaller because if we go on trips, cats can take care of themselves. They can just do their shit.
Yeah, so. I mean, the cats are great. I mean, and you have to make sure they have enough to eat and drink and what.
Oh yeah, absolutely. My daughter's here on and off, but I didn't want another dog.
Black cats are so loving. They're just so special. They really are. And it's a shame that some people think they're bad luck, because they're not. They're great.
They're not. No, I've had dogs growing up, and I've had cats, and I had when I met Eve. That's my wife, by the way. When I met Eve, I had a couple of cats, 3, and I named them all after Doctor Who companions.
Oh, mine are all god and goddesses names.
Yeah. I had Romana Natravallunda. I had Sarah Jane Smith. And the other one was Layla, but we ended up calling her Cutie, but she was mean as shit. That cat was so mean.
I had Zeus, Apollo, Eris, Nyx, and
very
Hera.
good.
And Hera. All
Hera.
Yeah, Hera. Yep.
Now, had I not known that you were into mythology, I would have said you named them all after Battlestar Galactica people. Anybody get that joke? Am I that old? I don't know how.
I remember that
myself. Do you?
Yeah, no, but that wasn't. It was. You know, I went the whole. God.
Since we're on animals, that's another question I would throw at you. I won't keep you much longer, I promise. But I wanted to throw at you. I want to throw at you. Do you believe in spirits of animals, spirit animals? I
do. I will say one letter short of PETA, PET.
Right.
I will go on the record saying that. I had the pleasure of giving Michael Vick the finger.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Love that.
Why do you have to do this to me and get me off track on what we're doing? Okay.
So anyway,
throw that out of my head. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck Michael Vick.
Oh, I hate him. He's literally
piece of shit.
Anyway, that was so my first private house. I walk in. I just talked about this last week too. This hasn't come up in a while, but my first private house, I walk in and I remember I thought a gray and white cat jumped over my feet and just kind of, scurried away. And I kind of jumped back, and they talked for a couple minutes, and the homeowner was like, "You okay?" And I said, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Your cat just, kind of, I just didn't want to kick your cat. He kind of like scurried in front of me or whatever." And she's like, was it gray and white? And I said, "Yeah." And she's like, "That was my cat. She passed away 2 weeks ago." I was like, "Wait a minute. That wasn't a real cat?" She's like, "No, I don't have any more pets. She was my last. She was 21. She passed away 2 weeks ago." That was the first time I ever dealt with anything like that. But I will tell you this. I don't know why this is, and it's very disturbing. I don't know if it's something in my head. If it's something in my head that just tries to, I don't know what it is, but driving down the road, if I see something that was hit and dead, it's almost like as when I'm going past it. This is going to sound so crazy. People are going to probably make fun of me and think I'm kooky. But as I'm going past, I literally see the last 6 seconds of that animal's life. And I literally start crying my eyes out. I will be crying. And so sad. I remember I saw, a deer, but in the last 6 seconds, the mom watched this little baby deer get, the mom was there, and it's just these crazy, it's just sad, and I hate that. I try to, I don't know what it is, but I don't know how to stop
I don't think you're nuts. I don't think you're nuts. I literally, when I see roadkill like that, I think to myself, what was the last few seconds of their life like? I don't see it, but I wonder sometimes. So I personally don't think you're nuts.
Right. And then how can I scrape that up enough where I could barbecue it at home?
Never.
I know. I am joking. I would never.
I was watching something last night. We were talking about movies, and I said, "There's no way." What were we talking about? Maybe it was a podcast, and they said something about it was a true story that they came back in the. No, it was. I think it was probably about something more. They came back and the Japanese were eating the legs or the muscles of the soldiers that were left there or something. And I was like, I don't care what is happening on this planet. I'm like, there's no way. I would be eating tree bark and leaves and grass.
Right.
And I just, because I'm not a meat eater. I mean, I got natural, So then they go, well, what if you're in the middle of the ocean? I'm like, well, then I'm fucked. I was like, I might as well just drown myself because.
Yeah, I've eaten a lot of things. I've done a couple survival courses back in the day, and when it came to eating like the caterpillars and the grubs and that kind of stuff,
No
nope,
way.
nope. I will. I was happy with pine cone tea and pine needle tea and grass and some other edibles and berries. I wasn't doing it. Now I thought, now if I'm out there for months and I can't find anything, then maybe I'd start eating worms and shit. But
Ugh.
oh
You know
yeah,
what?
some of the stuff.
Did you see that movie? If you remember, way back in the day, I think Dennis Quaid, and he was on and it was the alien. The alien. He became friends with the alien. And what was that movie? Oh, and the alien talked and everything. It was like almost looked like a lizard guy, and I remember he had like these big
Right.
ears. And it was
Enemy Mine.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah. Ugh.
And he had to reach in and pull that big white worm. That has haunted. Like I think about that from time to time. Like, why is that stuck in my head? That part of that movie. I can't ever watch it again.
You guys can still see me, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah, you're right enough.
I cut away to look at something real quick.
Somebody's asking to come on.
That was Tommy. I sent him a link, so maybe Tommy will join us. Yeah, I asked about the animal thing. I'm like you. I've had that same thought. I never used to give it two shits, but I know that in recent years, I do a little bit of the same thing. Just wonder what they were doing and how can people not see these? How can you not see animals? But I've had instances where I've come around a blind turn and I've hit a few animals, and I'm not going to tell you I feel real great about it. I'm not a big blubbering sissy, but it's terrible. I felt horrible.
It's interesting that you bring this up because I haven't told anyone this at all. Yeah. And I'm not one to see things. I don't ever see anything really. But the last like 4 days, I'm probably 99% sure that I'm seeing my Zeus running around. And I haven't had any. I mean, he passed away in November 2020. And wow. And
so I ask you something about a cat, and that doesn't come to mind when I ask you about a cat.
Well,
I just wondered if because I'll tell you why I asked. I don't want to allude to anything crazy or stupid here.
No.
Maybe Drew knows why I asked, because I saw something with you with a cat. But
yeah.
What I was seeing was like a black cat that had some white, like a white tuft or something on its head.
He was all black, but he had a white little thing here.
Okay.
And I used to tell him he was a ladies' man because he had a white horseshoe around his, I was like, look at you, Mr. Good Luck. Good luck for the ladies.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that was the only way.
Thanks for the image, TARYN. That's going to be in my head all night. Maybe I should get a tattoo. Just no. Okay. Good God, that's funny. That's funny.
But yeah, the last 3-4 days, I think I'm going crazy because I've been in the house. I said to my boyfriend, I said, I feel like I'm seeing Zeus, and I have not had really much. I haven't had any signs from him. I haven't had anything from him, and usually when I'm around animals, I can pick up when they're thirsty, which is weird. I can pick up when they need something. It's never fun and happy and like, oh, hoo, hoo, hoo. It's always, I'm dying of thirst, tell my owner. Like sometimes I've literally like opened up a bottle of water and just like went over and gave somebody's dog water, but again, I haven't.
How about you, Drew? Have you experienced that too? You've seen animal ghosts? He's done cutting corn or whatever he's doing over there.
I've not seen them. I've heard them. I think even maybe once felt one. I don't know, but it's really funny. I sit here and listen to her describe Zeus, and I think about Ralphie. He's completely black, got like 6 little white hairs right here on his chest, and he's the ladies' man. He has never met a person that he hasn't known since the day he popped out of his mama. He has to love on everybody. And our new kitten, she wouldn't come to you if you had a pocket full of 9 lives and a bag full of treats.
Aw.
She was a stray, and I think she was a feral.
Mhm.
And we got her when she was probably 2 months old.
Mhm.
And because we've been promising Ralphie his own kitten for over a year, and we got her probably 6 months ago or something like that. And they're like the best of friends. She follows him everywhere, learns all kinds of little tricks from him.
Mhm.
So he's a good adopted dad.
Aw.
Yeah, I've had a couple of experiences, and hi. Oh, everything's funny. You can come in. Talking to my wife. Sorry. I am. I got 4 people
Hi,
on
Tommy.
right now.
How's it going?
Hi, Tommy.
You can come in.
Long
and say
time
hi
no
if you want.
see.
Yeah,
I'll
really.
be up in a minute.
It's been like 3 days.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, hi Tom.
Hey, Big D.
Yeah, the reason I asked is because I've had a few of those, but the most recent was our dog, Luke. So we had 2 things happen. So I know when one of my cats died, Gracie, I'd seen her in the kitchen, but I wanted to talk about Luke. So we had last Thanksgiving with him, took him out to Lake Michigan. He got to go in the water, and we were fighting tick disease, Lyme disease with him, and he wasn't responding. And what we ended up finding with an MRI is he had a tumor, which he might have had it for quite a while because we noticed he was losing weight. But he's a good dog. We had him 11 years, beautiful dog, black lab husky mix.
Oh.
And he was such a good boy. And the weird part was, so as they're putting him down, my wife went in with him because I couldn't do it. I got to tell you, I'd have been a big blubbering baby. I couldn't do it. And she comes out and my car dies. Alternator goes bad instantly on my Jeep. Weirdness. So we get that fixed. We get home. We knew it was hard for us. We were pretty sad. We felt like the worst humans in the world, and everybody goes through that. And so that very night, I hear his claws on the floor in the kitchen, and I hear the bell on our door ring like he used to bump the door.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I heard it. It was plain as day. She didn't hear it. And then so 2 nights after that, she wakes me up at about 4:30 in the morning, and she's like, Dan, and I mean, like the house was on fire. I was actually sat up, and she's like, look in the living room. So where our bedroom is, there's a door, and you can see our living room floor, and her sandal had been picked up and moved to the center of the living room floor from next to the bed, and that's something Luke used to do. And and then a couple more nights go by, so about a week is going by. I kind of think I'm hearing stuff, and then something bumped my leg. I was in getting coffee about 7 in the morning, and I happened to turn quick enough, and I just saw the rear end of him and his tail, like he was going towards the living room. And then that was the last time I think I had a run-in with him. But I've seen dogs. We went to a case and we saw a dog. All 4 of us in the car saw it. They told me to get out first because they figured if anybody's going to get rampaged and hurt, it'd be Dan. And I get out, and the client's like, "What's the matter?" And I said, we were afraid to get out because of that huge dog. And she's like, "What dog?" And I said, "That big old black dog." And she's like, that dog's been dead for a year. He's buried out back of the house. Shit, So I've had some weird run-ins, even picking up audio of horses when we're at a historic farm. And there's no horses where we're at.
Yep. I tried to work for a veterinarian for about a year, and I couldn't do it.
Oh boy,
it was bad. And not anything spiritual wise, but just I could feel the empathy. Like I could feel their
they got feelings too. Yeah,
I could feel it, and I was going home crying every night. I was like, I can't do this. This is emotionally just not right for me.
Yeah, I would tell anybody if you've had a pet you've been very fond of and very close to think that they don't sense stuff like you do and they have feelings, you're wrong. I think they got a soul. Definitely got a soul. Yeah, for sure. So Tommy, what's new, man?
Not much. Just chilling out,
Yeah, chilling out, man.
chilling like a villain. You know what I'm saying? What was this whole live stream about, anyways?
Just talking to TARYN about her experiences in paranormal, a little bit about her podcast. She does so many damn podcasts. I can't keep up with her. I got to tell her, every time I turn around, she's doing a podcast. I'm like, how many of these a week does she do? Or am I just not keeping up?
Oh no, yeah. So I only do one a week.
Okay.
I only have my one, but it's streamed on Unrestricted.
Yep. Yep. It
It
does.
goes on Unrestricted. It's on Paranormal Radio King Network. It is on Parapost Network, and also I have a YouTube, and I have an Instagram, but I don't put anything up on Instagram, and Facebook.
Right.
That's what
And,
most people say with Instagram that are like a
Yeah.
little bit
Instantly.
older.
That's a big mistakes were
And-
made, man. Yeah.
Yes, I am the admin for the Huntophobia Canada page, and also the producer for Through the Lens for Brian and Lex. That's on Sundays at 4.
And that's the Huntotopia, folks.
Yeah, well, that's his page, but then there's also the
Huntophobia.
podcast they do is
Okay.
called Through the Lens.
Through the lens, right?
Yeah, and then I am third owner of BB3 TV. That's just another Facebook streaming network that just
You are a busy little Indian. Wow.
Yeah, I was nominated podcast of the year. I don't know when that's
Yeah,
supposed to
congrats.
come out.
Yeah, congrats on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is she from? Canada, America?
No,
Me?
no, she's from Jersey.
Yeah. Jersey. Okay.
Yeah.
She said something about Canada a second ago. So
That's some of the people that she's working with. Yeah, and here I thought I was busy, because I'm run Kalamazoo Ghostbusters, Great Lakes Ghostbuster Coalition, SMP, this crazy ass thing, which is attached to that network, and then I'm running your shows over there, and I'm trying
Yeah.
to. I'm the same way though. I got 10 different pots and about 16 spoons in each pot. So.
Yeah, and and recently I've been asked to come on podcasts, which is something new for me. Last year I would do like 1 or 2, 3 here and there, but it's different being on this end of it for sure.
Well, I'm glad you said yes. I mean, I just wanted to have you on and talk to you to get to know you, if anything.
No, I love. I'm like I said, I'm transparent, open book, whatever. You ask me whatever, I don't care.
I've had some meat like that at a bad party. That meat was so thin I could see through it. Thank you. The jokes don't get any better.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, we got some new stuff coming up. So what's new in the future for you? I mean, are there, outside of all the new stuff you just told us about, you going on some investigations? You saving up to go to some stuff? Yeah.
So let me see. So I'm booked on the podcast until June. And
I was looking for my invite. I don't seem to be on there. Weird.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I'm just joking. I'm teasing.
Where are you? You were
at the bottom of the list where I belong.
That's not true.
Don't feel bad, Danny. I think she accidentally put my invite on the back of her toilet, just in case we have another toilet paper shortage.
Stop it.
That's because she's tired of all that shit you talk.
I think she got ready to send it to me and thought, no, I might need to wipe with this. There might be a paper shortage again, so I'm going to put his invite back here.
That is so not nice. It's not true. So February 17th, one of the guests I always have on, who does photographs for pooches. It's a Paracon. I always want to say Michigan, but I think he's out of somewhere else, but it's in Michigan most of the time. But all the proceeds go towards the local animal shelters in the area.
Who is it?
His name's Tim Maile, M-A-I-L-E.
I know who. Yeah, I know who that is. M-A-I-L-E.
Yes, he's like one of my most favorite people on this planet.
Yeah, I think he's a friend of mine on Facebook. Yeah.
So February 17th, he's doing his annual Paracon March 4th, 5th, and 6th or something like that. But prior to that, he wants to do a telethon. So he asked me to come on to help out with the telethon. So I'll be doing that on the 17th. The investigations I have coming up, Kreischer Mansion in Staten Island. That's soon. That's February 19th.
Forget about it.
Forget about it, huh?
Forget about it.
And then I have, White Hill Mansion, April 9th and 10th. There's also Strauss Mansion in there somewhere.
White Hill. I could have swore you got me onto that. I want to tell you, you got me onto that really old show you were watching the other day with Michael Dorn narrating Hauntings Across America.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
some of the people on there, I was like, I want to reach in the screen and start slapping some heads. But
I know.
Some of it was funny though. Some of it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And
Now-
then there was, and then Hinsdale in September.
Okay, that's the one. Wasn't that on the program, the Hinsdale House? Or no? I watched it on another YouTube thing, the Hinsdale people,
Yeah.
where
Hinsdale.
the guys got pictures up on the wall. You can go there and you can sign and
Gettysburg
Now,
Battlefield. That's every year. The bash.
now, you know, speaking of Gettysburg, I know I don't mean to interrupt. Sorry. You are friends with the Berries.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Cool.
Yeah, very good friends. I love them both so much.
Yeah, I remember back when she was kind of part of the Gettysburg Ghost Gales, and then that whole thing went south.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was kind of in the middle trying to get both of them on as guests, and I was, with
I
what's
love
her
him
face,
and
Bridget, and whatever, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna just disappear. I'm gonna kind of
Did
fold
you,
out of that and let it do its thing.
did you give TARYN the information on Ghost-orama? Because the last time we talked, her and Mark, she was saying she wanted to come here and do an investigation, hang out for a little bit.
Wait, is she the one that wants to come to the house in Benton Harbor? I can't think of the name right now.
Well, just say Ghost
Okay.
Rama. I did tell her about it, and I was going to say on her August 20th list, I would hope that she would put that she's going to be there.
August 20th.
August 20th, 2022.
Okay, now this makes sense.
Ghost-orama. Remember, we were kind of talking, and I mentioned you if you could make it up here. You said maybe.
Ghost-orama. No, I don't remember.
Okay, so Ghost-orama is.
No, I'm talking about the Morton house.
Oh, I'm talking about.
Yeah,
well,
she was the one that. She was the one that talked to Mark about the Morton House.
Yeah, the Morton House, that'd be cool too. But I mean, August 20th, I'd like to have her come up if she can make the drive, because it's a paranormal meet and greet like they do in Indianapolis at the Hannah House. So Danielle Garrison, who's a good friend of mine, has been for years. We're trying to do the same thing. So it's going to be paranormal meet and greet meets a car show, meets a Comic-Con. We're gonna classic monsters. I'm going to have live music. My friends from Tomb of Nick Cage are coming up. That's what they're telling me. So we're hoping they're going to show up, which is a rock, horror group type of deal. You got some other people doing music, DJ. This is just this meet and greet thing we want to do every year up here in Michigan. And it's to bring a lot of paranormal people together so that, the fighting and the hating kind of stops. If enough of us are at this event, you can at least sit and talk to each other and kind of try to find some common ground. So
yeah, for sure.
And you being a person who's out of state, I mean, way out of state.
Yeah, I'm from Jersey, though. You really want a Jersey girl rolling up in there? Like,
I got a lot of friends from Jersey that have moved here, and friends who've left here and gone to Jersey. So I don't have any.
Who the hell would ever want to come to New Jersey's beyond?
You guys got an interesting history, don't you dare?
Look
at all the Jersey canals and everything, the history you guys got there. Come on.
Not impressed.
I would still like you to come up. If you can make it and come up and be here, that'd be cool.
I will definitely check. I'll see. I'll see. You said the 20th, right?
Yeah. It's at a haunted location. It's in Hartford, and it's a poorhouse museum. They used to have the original hospital on the grounds, so there's a lot of life and death there, obviously recorded. Turn of the century, they had a fire which killed 12 people, women and children. They rebuilt, and I have worked the place for quite a few years, at least 12, if not 13, in and out of it. And there's some weird shit going on in that place, and just strange. But we figured it'd be a great place to have one of these deals and have everybody come up to that little farming area there in Michigan. It's kind of in between Kalamazoo and South Haven, but.
Yeah, I feel like didn't we map it out? How far am I? Like 8 hours, or was that me and Tim? I think me and Tim mapped it out. No, I'm 12 hours. I think.
Yeah, I've driven
where he's at.
I've driven 16. If that helps.
16. Oh my god.
Not to an investigation, but I'm just saying I've driven 16 hours.
Oh.
Yeah, all the way up from Georgia.
My record was 19. I left Central Indiana, drove straight through to Tampa.
So my record was 12 hours, but it was in Pennsylvania because I was like 19, had no idea where I was going. I was trying to go to a college party. I missed an exit and I got lost in these backwoods of Pennsylvania. Scared. I almost ran out of gas. Like a trucker pulled over and gave me like $40 for gas and all kinds of stuff. 4:00 in the morning. I don't know how the heck I'm alive today with all the shit that I went through when I was younger, but here I am. I was lost for 12 hours. So
isn't it amazing how we look back as adults now and wonder how the hell we're still alive? Some of the dumb shit we done.
I literally hitchhiked to my boyfriend's house when I was like 12. Like who hit? So I remember this old guy picking me up. And then when I say old at that time, I mean, you're like 14 and the guy's 40. To you, that's old, you know? And then I remember he was like a hippie. My dad, oh my God, he was so mad. He found me within 10 minutes, but he was a police officer. So, you know.
Yep, that's my mindset. My daughter pulled that once, and only once did it ever happen, and she thought I was going to.
Oh yeah, I never did it again.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I told the boy if I ever saw him again, I'd kill him. So I never saw him again. Yep, I'm an idiot. I had daughters. What do you want me to do? I had boy, girl. And
I am one of 7, and I'm the oldest, and I'm the only girl.
Oh man!
Wow.
So, yeah.
You poor thing.
Yeah.
Nah.
Did you grow up playing baseball and ice hockey, all that stuff? Very cool.
Yep.
See?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know how to put makeup on. I mean, I do my eyes. That's about it. But I learned that when I was 27 because I never had anybody show me. You know, I was a tomboy growing up forever. I had no idea. But I still like that stuff. You know what I mean? Like I like the old car shows. I love the air shows because I love old military planes and stuff like that. You know, so I think I've adapted some of the cool shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're into a lot of very cool stuff that I'm into too. I want to ask you this. Are you, as far as paranormal goes, are you into the cryptids, UFOs, all that stuff too?
I have an open mind to it. I've never experienced anything. I will tell you, I don't think the Jersey Devil is a true story. I do think that is an exaggerated. I think a woman had a disformed child, and I think maybe rumors just grew from that. I've heard something. I went Bigfoot hunting once, and after the investigation, when we were about to get into the car, I definitely heard. We all heard this yell, scream, screech, something. I've never heard it since. Never heard it before or since. Can't explain it. I'm not going to say it was Bigfoot, but it was definitely something that I have no idea what it was.
Have you heard of Christopher Belsario? He's from your area, Jersey, and parts of New York. He's written a few books. He had a run-in with that, and I think he said he was convinced that something was chasing him parallel through the woods, and I've heard that before too. But I'm with you. I first read about the Jersey Devil.
like that.
Well, I heard a door open and footsteps, and nobody was reacting. So I'm like, what's in the background? But I first read about the Jersey Devil in a Reader's Digest when I was about 13 years old, and they were really ramping that story up. But I don't think I've ever believed it. That's a good thing. Like the puck wedgies that are supposed to happen in Jersey and New York, puck wedgies. You ever heard of those?
Yeah,
the little people.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I can't. I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm not saying that there's things out there that that don't exist. But I personally have never experienced anything else other than ghosties, if you will. And I pay attention a lot to space because I love meteor showers, lunar eclipses, anything funky going on with the sky. I love. So I'm always up. I'm always watching the night sky, and I have never seen anything weird.
Yeah, if you're ever interested in having some of those guests on, let me know, and I'll throw some people your way. Michael Lynch, Dr. Michael Lynch, is a physicist who's a friend of ours. He's been on my program a lot, but he will tell you about all the aliens that are here and all sorts of stories. And I tend to believe the guy. He knows his stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I mean, I've had I don't know if you ever heard of Justin Bamforth. He's an author, but he researches like Men in Black stuff and everything. Yeah. And I had him on, and he actually shared, which are the creepiest phone calls I think I've ever listened to. I almost felt like I was invading the privacy of who was supposed to hear those phone calls. Like it was weird. Right. But somebody had called this gentleman 4 times, and it was very odd. The phone calls are so odd. And I then eventually had the guy that received those phone calls on my show. I had to do a little bit of begging because, you know, apparently they get a lot of shit for coming out and saying that they've experienced these things. UFO people, you know, that have experienced stuff like this, or MIB, you know, they don't, it's not as accepted as the demons and angels and demons are, if you will. So it took me some convincing, but he finally said, yeah. And he came on. But you have to look those phone calls up. You have to listen to those phone calls. I much would rather listen to the tapes of the exorcism of Emily Rose than I would like to listen to those other ones, because they're definitely creepy.
I don't mean to butt in, and I know I didn't say a whole lot during this when I came on here, but it was nice meeting you, TARYN, and everything.
Likewise.
I'm gonna go eat pizza, and I'll talk to you guys later. But thanks for having me on, Danny. Sorry I wasn't on for so long. So
No, I'll get you on next time. I wasn't sure
okay.
you were out there, but we'll do something soon. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no
We'll
problem.
see you,
Take it
Tyler.
easy, guys. Yeah, have a good night, guys.
You too, bud. You
I
too.
don't know how the hockey team's doing in New Jersey. I don't pay attention to it.
Yeah. And I got your picture, his animal picture. It's interesting. I'll have to look at it a little closer, but he thinks it's an animal. Is that in a barn or something?
Whose picture?
Is it Brian? Is that his name from Canada?
Oh yeah, Brian.
Yeah, he sent me a photo. Yeah, so
BJ.
Kind of let me know what building that is and some other stuff, because I took black and white photography for many years, and you know, I use camera, and I kind of know what they do and what they don't do. I'm one of those guys. You know, it's in a store. That's weird. It looked like it was in a barn where it had like a bunch of benches or something. I'll take a closer look, man. Let you know. It's definitely interesting. It's in an old jail. Okay.
Wait.
Have you seen that photo?
No, I haven't. He's full of surprises, so you know, every day's something new.
Yeah.
But yeah. So,
yes, ma'am.
Oh, that turned into a store, he said. The
It
old
turned
jail
into a store.
Yeah,
I'm kind of slow. It's kind of I'm stuttering. I just wanted to have you on, like I said, to get to know you a little bit, reach that comfort zone that I wanted to find with you there, so that you know, if ever we do this again, then we'll have other questions and just fun shit to talk about.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Especially our adventures. I can imagine all three of us can match adventures with the weird and the strange. You know, talking to clients and stuff that's happened in this, and sometimes things that I just look at it like I'm not even going to try to explain that.
Right.
Some weird things have happened to me, especially when I've been out driving middle of the night, snowstorms. I've had some weird shit happen. So just nutty stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And enough with the BJ.
I call him BJ because his name's Brian John. He's like, my name is Brian John. I'm like, okay, BJ.
Oh boy.
He doesn't like it.
Yeah, I'm the same way with my middle name. Like, please stop. My wife will run. Well, you know what his middle name is? Stop telling everybody, please. Yeah, it's terrible. Any closing thoughts or questions there?
No,
Drew?
Oh, sorry. Thought you were asking me.
No, not really. I've just sat and enjoyed listening to her again. You know, whenever I conduct my own streams, I always tell people, I'm going to ask you the simplest questions. Just talk all you want to. The more you talk, the less I have to.
Oh, I don't have a problem talking.
And I've sat back and you know, listened to her talk, and I've reminisced, you know, when she was on my stream and how great it was, and you know how much fun it was and everything, you know. So yeah, I definitely thank you, Danny, for, you know, inviting me to come in and be a spectator the whole time.
You will be more than a spectator, I promise, next time around. You know, I would like to try to have Drew come on with me more often and co-host this show with me.
And then Mark too.
Yeah, you know, have you guys come in, do your stuff, and I'll just sit by and shut my mouth for a change. How about that? I'm like her. Once you get me talking, you know,
Yeah. Oh, I don't shut up. And then I have
Yeah.
ADD. So then my train of thought goes, over this way and over so it's you just gotta keep me in line.
Well, if it was anybody but Danny, I probably would have said no, because last night I think we might have discussed it a little bit when you were on my stream, but every night I wake up between 3 and 3:30. It don't matter if I go to bed at 9 or I go to bed at midnight. I'm up between 3 and 3:30. And here lately, I've been waking up and hearing things through our wall in the kitchen. So I done an all-night stream last night, just filming our kitchen. And K2 meter kept going off. People seen shadows.
Yeah, I mean, even though I've been having stuff happen here at my house, like I won't do it. I've heard a couple people lately that they've been doing that, which is fine. Like I don't think everybody knows, the people that are doing it know what they're doing. They've been doing it for a long time. But I just like, all right, go ahead. You want to pass on through. I'm not communicating. It's whatever. Have fun.
Yeah.
I set the camera up and I pulled devices on the table and set the camera up on the counter facing the back door and everything. And I came in here in the studio and sat till 3:30 and then laid down for like 2.5 hours and got back up, shut the camera off, and that was it. So
yeah, I wanted to thank I wanted to thank Grandma for that, by the way. So I got off, but I left the screen on, and his overnight thing was running. And there was one point where I had to come back down, and I was checking some stuff in the room here, and I happened to look, and I saw something by the window, and I saw some movement, and I was getting ready to pick the phone up and call you. It was like, oh my God, I'm seeing somebody move in the corner of your room, right? And then Grandma gets up and comes out to her walker and walks by the camera and scared the bejesus out of me. So tell her thanks for that.
I showed the video to Steph tonight, and I'm like, something? She was fighting COVID a week and a half ago. She was falling down every other day, hitting the floor. We get her this walker. Now she's running to the kitchen, carrying the walker.
Yeah, she had
so she don't make any noise.
And then she'd look down at the camera, and that's the part I caught just as I stepped back in, and I'm like, oh my God, scared the hell out of me. So it was kind of funny. Not that I'm afraid when I'm out investigating. Don't get the wrong impression here, because I've seen a lot of weird shit. But TARYN, I don't want to keep you any longer. I wanted to tell you thank you for coming on, and I'm going to give each of you, so stay on here, Drew. I'm going to give each of you a chance to tell everybody where they can find you. So TARYN, tell everybody where they can find you and what you're doing.
So you can find me at Paranormal Brew on Facebook or Paranormal Brew on YouTube. I am third owner of BB3 TV, which is another Facebook network streaming thing, which is where it gets streamed. Unrestricted Paranormal, Sundays at 9 or 4.
Yeah, I throw them in there. Yeah, this week you weren't on, but every so often you will catch her at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at unrestrictedradio.com. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Paranormal King Radio Network. They stream that on there, and as well as Parapost Network. I am also producing Through the Lens with Brian and Lex. That's on Sundays at 4. And running that Huntophobia Canada page. So, yeah, busy.
Running the page for the Canadians, eh?
Yeah, they're nicer. They're nicer.
They're nicer. You got to take them out. Take them out and take care of them.
Hey, you're a hoser. Remember that? What was it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I used to watch that. I used to listen to them all the time. You hoser.
No way, hoser. I'll be in the cafeteria selling smokes. You're going to be someone's girlfriend, eh? So, Drew, tell them where they can find you, my man.
Oh, God. Well, I can be found on Midwest Parahistoric Society on Facebook. On YouTube, we are actually under Living Histories Mysteries. Instagram, Living Histories Mysteries. That's about it for me.
Well, that
says
it all right there.
Yeah, I do three videos a week on something pertaining to either histories, mysteries, or the paranormal. And then I do 6 live streams, 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. My Friday night 7 p.m. streams are usually the ones that I do my interviews on.
Yep. And I catch your coffee stuff every once in a while when I get up early enough to have a coffee and say hi to you.
Yep. I always do my morning coffee and chat, 8 o'clock in the morning, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And it's just pretty much our straight up BS live stream. We do like today in history and stuff like that. So it's just a kick back, relax, get your day started stream.
Yeah. That's cool. And speaking of coffee, I used that for a segue. So see what I did there?
That's good.
One of the sponsors to the program, folks, is Gun Barrel Coffee. I just had both the guys on with me on the Big Dog Show the other day, sporting my hat and the new shirt they sent over.
You should tell them. You should tell them to. You should say they should Paranormal Brew coffee brew. Get it?
Interesting. Well, they make some great coffee. This one's called Battleship. They have so many, and it's owned by veterans, hosted by veterans. Portions of the sales from stuff out of their store go to help veteran organizations. They're out of Batavia, Illinois. Just go to gunbarrelcoffee.com. You've had the rest, try the best. My mornings are started with half and half sometimes of their stuff, or full 0 dark 30 or Battleship, because I love Navy coffee, because that'll keep you up all day. Period.
Oh, God.
Other sponsors are Henderson Castle, hendersoncastle.com. It is an 1895 bed and breakfast here in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Folks, if you come to Kalamazoo, book your next stay there. And yours truly, I do once a month. I host historic, you heard me right, historic ghost lectures and ghost tours there. You can get to meet Frank and Mary Henderson, and we have a great time. And if you're coming to South Haven, Michigan this spring, summer, and part of the fall, and please book your next stay at the historic Hotel Nichols. Drew knows all about that place. It's also got some light activity, but we'd love to have you there. And that's about it. Now, you can find Drew's show and TARYN's show. You can find both of their programs over at www.unrestrictedparanormal.com. If you look down at the banner at the bottom there, you spell unrest, RXTD, paranormal.com. You just go to the page. They have their own page. Serious. You click in the show sponsor. You go over and see TARYN. She's got her own page. And when I can pull her videos from YouTube and Facebook, because I've used little secrets to try to grab them and pull them over.
Yeah.
I slide over her videos, and you can catch them there. If you don't catch them there, catch them on Unrestricted Radio 2 Facebook or Unrestricted Facebook. Both. I can play them on both. With Drew's content as well. I got to get Drew to click something special. You can find Midwest Parahistoric Society and Living History Mysteries is also over there. So you can, I'm just offering up more places for you to find these two. TARYN does an exceptional job on her podcast. I mean,
thank you.
Can't speak enough about it, as does Drew. Drew has great guests, does a great job. And I care for both of these people very much, even though I've not met her in person yet. I can tell she's a great person. She's got a good soul. And she will continue to be your paranormal police. I'll just have her back on a lot of this crazy shit that's going on. And we'll move forward. But TARYN, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I love it. Thank you. You guys are doing great.
Oh, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Keep up the positive stuff. And as well as Hunt Phobia and everybody else that you're working with, if they want to come on over, have a speak, talk some shit, whatever, send them this way, and I'd be more than happy to have them on at any time.
Awesome.
All right, you guys have a great night, and as I tell everybody at the end of the show, keep your eyes to the sky, happy haunting, and please be smarter and kinder. And if you can't be smarter and kinder, please be quieter.
Oh yeah, he was on my show last night. That's what he was saying.